Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Stephen Jensen. And below us is Mose. It is a three-man booth to start the show. And shout out, as always, the Big Dick MLJ for the intro. But yes, we got a three-man booth to start. We're going to jump kind of right into wrestling here. But first, Mose, how you doing, buddy?
Feeling good, man. Good to hear Emil's voice. Haven't seen him in a minute. Good to see you guys. Haven't seen you guys in a minute. Good morning, man. Good morning.
We appreciate you joining us. A little bit of a different show today. Usually Jensen has a hard out at 10 because he's got a shoot job that he has to get to, but not tonight, not today, not this morning. We can go a little extra long today. Hopefully, if people watch In the Weeds, you heard yesterday they were doing a bunch of jackhammering as we get work done on our house. I won't subject anybody to that. So I'll be here as long as they're not being too loud downstairs. Jensen will be here for as long as he wants to be here. Mose will be here for as long as he wants to be here. We're supposed to have another special guest joining us a little bit later on. So we're going to be a little bit all over the place today. Jensen, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm in full on vacation mode. Got the neck beard going. Haven't even bothered shaving. Just got back from the casino last night. Lost a little bit of money, but had a good time. So yeah, can't complain. But it's good to see you, Jeremy. Good to see Mose. Mose had a big weekend. We got a lot to talk about. So in the wrestling world, we have a lot to talk about. All In was obviously a massive show. Looking forward to giving a review of that. I thought Dynamite last night was really good. AEW Bash in Berlin, I'm looking forward to.
This weekend is stupid. This is just a dumb weekend for wrestling.
We just had GCW Homecoming weekend that just happened. We got plenty to talk about there. So I mean, there's some good topics today. So yeah, Darko Finji says AEW neckbeards. I'm loud and proud with the neckbeard today, y'all. This is straight up vacation mode. I'm too lazy to even bother shaving this week. So taking full advantage. Anyways, it's good to see y'all. And yeah, I don't know if you want to jump into like any AEW first, Jeremy, or if you want to talk some TWE. Where do you want to start with this thing? You tell me.
Let's start with some AEW because I know people are very excited to talk about AEW and All In and the show that they had. So let's go with AEW.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show. And I think it's been a run of great shows.
The GOAT, the greatest wrestler of all time, argue with a wall. I don't care. Bryan Danielson, the new AEW World Champion, defeated Swerve Strickland in the main event. Career on the line. He did it, Stephen Jensen. The best main event match all year. The only real story that needed to be finished all year. The most important story. The biggest title win of the year in front of the most fans of the year. Jensen, how does it feel to know that Cody Rhodes got overshadowed by Bryan Danielson and proved himself as the greatest wrestler and the best story of the year?
You know what, Jeremy? I was actually prepared for a barrage like that, whatever you want to call that. Like I figured you'd be coming in hot. I saw the thumbnail for today's show. So,
I mean, all I'm going to say, Jensen, that's not bad. All I'm gonna say though,
you like that? I had Gisberto make a backup. I saw your GOAT thumbnail and I hit him up last night and I was like, Gisberto, I need a quick favor if you can do this for me, bud. And he made me a Cody Rhodes version because I figured we'd be talking a lot of Danielson today. No, listen, dude.
Real quick, hold on.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Hold on.
All right.
Tell me when I'm telling lies. Did Bryan Danielson need interference to win the AEW world title?
No.
Did he need 13 different people coming in to win the AEW world title.
Bro, was it Bloodline Rules though? You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit different circumstances. Listen,
So?
I'm gonna. You don't have to go through all this, and we'll let Mose get some thoughts in too, because I'm sure he has plenty of thoughts on Bryan Danielson and him becoming the AEW champion after this long career he's had. That moment was awesome. I'm not going to sit here and like roast Bryan Danielson from All In and compare it to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Two completely different things, both awesome moments in two different companies. I love both companies right now. Like, I think WWE's killing it. I think AEW's killing it. I was joking about the Cody Rhodes GOAT thing. I just thought it'd be kind of a funny troll thing to have ready. And you laid it right at the top of the show. So I went ahead and I just got that bit out of the way. Thank you, Gisberto, by the way, for doing that for me. But no, dude, that was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. Like we called it last week. We were like, they're really leaning into the yes chance, which makes sense. They're about to be at a stadium full of people at Wembley. They want them all doing that. Me and Jeremy were both at WrestleMania 30. I don't know if you were there as well, Mose, in New Orleans. But that night, was a great night, and it mostly remembered for everybody chanting yes with Bryan Danielson after he beat Triple H in the opening match, and then the main event when he beat Batista and Randy Orton. I see all these fans online that are like fighting each other and arguing each other. Which was the better moment for Danielson? Was it WrestleMania? Was it Wembley? At the end of the day, like I shouldn't say who cares, but like, you know what I mean? Like no one should be fighting over that, because this dude has had two of the greatest moments in the history of professional wrestling. I'm not going to sit here and say he isn't the GOAT. Like, my favorite wrestler of all time is Cody Rhodes. Everyone knows that, but I think Cody's still got stuff he's got to accomplish before he's actually legitimately in the GOAT conversation. I'll be real about that. But I think that Danielson legitimately has solidified himself, where if somebody was to say Bryan Danielson's the best wrestler of all time, I'm not going to argue it. I have that level of respect for Danielson. I have that level of respect for Swerve. I thought both of them totally killed it. I thought Swerve did great in his entire title reign, and like is cemented as a main event guy from now on, coming from a guy who we knew was good in Lucha Underground under a mask, who we knew was better than having to be on 205 Live, who we knew was better than being like let go by the WWE super fast and Hit Row and all that stuff. So Swerve is reaching his potential. Danielson's a GOAT. Everything worked out. Match was awesome. Danielson should be the champion right now. So I'm not going to sit here and even like pretend like I'm not happy for Bryan Danielson or that wasn't awesome. Mose, how do you feel about all this?
My GOAT is Samoa Joe. Just if y'all want to roast me or get some things going on that, get some graphics going, that's fine.
But I ain't saying nothing bad about Samoa Joe. That man will probably find this and be like, who's your GOAT? So no, Samoa Joe does rule.
That's the one. No, I totally agree with you, Jitson. Like, Danielson's up there for me. Like, I've always been a fan, obviously great at getting emotion out of every crowd, everywhere he's been. He may not have needed interference, but he definitely needed the love of his family, which is, that has to be part of the story. Well, yeah, but I just feel like Birdie's almost like a tag team partner at this point. Like, I think we're going to get AEW tag titles on those two before he retires, bro. I'm telling you. It was a beautiful moment. I don't know what else to add. You guys, like, they did such a good job. Like, I thought Bryan was going to win, but you know what I mean? There was just enough of like, maybe he does go out in Wembley with the family there. So they did a good job with that. Great match, amazing moment. I think last night, the little, his promo coming out was really good. So I have nothing to hate on, and I'm such a big box wrestling hater at times, but you guys are nailing it. Like, the big box wrestling's doing awesome right now. AEW has some great stories. I will watch Danielson like with anybody. I know if before he retires, hey Brian, if you hear this, please wrestle Daniel Makabe. He really wants that.
Yeah.
He really, really wants that. But I as somebody that obviously, when you're around, when you're watching wrestle as much as we are, it's easy to kind of lose that at times, lose that magic. You know what I mean? Like, you get too much in the numbers and all the extra BS. But it was a beautiful moment. It was something that professional wrestling, that's what makes it just the amazing thing it is those kind of moments where you're just sitting there going like, wow, like what's better than this man with everything he's been through with this beautiful title in front of 40G or, all these people and the family there. Like, it was just, they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it on a great pay-per-view too. And I want to say too, because Swerve's such a great talent. I met him years ago down at a show in Tennessee, and he was just such a cool dude. You know what I mean? So that short reign, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it was not a very long reign, but he really made that title feel, elevated, and everything mattered. And I love Swerve, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Danielson, because, man, like, you felt it last night on Dynamite, man. That crowd is just like every word, every second with him in that ring, they're soaking up, and that's something that we don't do enough, right? We don't give people their flowers while they're still here. I know we've lost Brian a couple times, but it's just, those are the moments we need more of when we can, for sure. But just appreciating greatness, and he's great. He's not Samoa Joe, but he's great.
You have more to add to that, Jeremy? I'm sure you have plenty. I don't know how much you've already talked about all this, like, before today. But
I mean, look, he's my favorite wrestler of all time. I think he's the greatest wrestler of all time. I mean, there's plenty of debates to be had about that. But if you don't think Bryan Danielson is a top 5 in-ring performer, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the dude is outstanding to me in every aspect of professional wrestling. I love this match. I thought it was great. I love the little moments. Like, I was very confident in him winning this match, because I just didn't think he was gonna retire just yet. Mainly because I think, and it's more or less confirmed, he wants to do one-off matches still. So him doing like, a retirement means theoretically you shouldn't be doing one-off matches because you have lost, you have retired. And Swerve said as much in the Go Home promo of, like, if you try to do a one-off match, I'm going to be there and I'm going to remind you that, no, you can't do this. I'm going to break you even further. So that's why I didn't think he was going to lose. They sold me on a number of times that he might actually lose, though. The multiple house call kicks, like, and then the big pressure, the JML driver, when that hit, I was like, is he gonna lose? And then he kicked out. But they sold me on him potentially losing this match, and I thought it was an excellent professional wrestling match. I'm happy to see Bryan Danielson get his moment. I'm happy to see him be the champion. I don't think it's going to be a long reign. He's going to face Jack Perry at All Out. I've booked that he might lose at Wrestle Dream. I could very easily see him, because that's in Washington.
Did we lose Jeremy for a second?
Yeah.
You're back, Jeremy.
Okay. I think he could lose as soon as Wrestle Dream, because that's in Washington. He loses everyone. He said last night that his full-time career is done once he loses the title. So he loses, but everyone knows, okay, that's it for full-time. Obviously, he's still going to do a lot of one-off stuff, but it gets big standing ovation from the Washington crowd and everything. And there's just that understanding of, like, all right, Danielson's done full time. Let's give him a big standing ovation send off here. So I don't think it's going to be a long reign, but he's going to have an all out match. He's going to face Darby at Grand Slam, and then Wrestle Dream could be.
Oh, we keep losing Jeremy. Can you hear me okay, Mose? Am I still good for you? Okay, so me and Mose are still good. Jeremy is back now. Okay, he's back. That's only the second time that's happened, though, but it's not happening for long. So
we'll see how long. Anyway, I think Wrestle Dream could be the end. Jensen, what are you looking at this title reign? Do you think it's going to be a little bit longer? Do you think it's going to be, I don't know if it can be shorter than that, unless he loses it All Out?
Yeah, I don't see him losing it All Out to Jack Perry, although I am 100% for them getting rid of the TNT Championship if they want to do that in like a unification match, but I don't think that's necessarily what they're doing. I've said just for a long time that I think AEW has too many title belts, so like that'd just be a good way of maybe getting rid of one of them, in my opinion. I feel like the TNT title doesn't hold a lot of weight when you already have an international championship and a continental championship and an FTW championship, which I think Taz has been alluding on social media to, like, maybe Hook retiring that. I don't know if they mentioned anything about that on Dynamite that I missed.
I mean, Roderick Strong, he lost to Roderick Strong, tapped out to Hook, but his foot was underneath the ropes, and then and then Roddy knocked him out after the match with the knee, and then held up the FTW title. So it seems like they're at least going to continue for a Hook and Roddy feud.
Yeah, I was basing what I was saying off of a tweet that I saw the other night of Taz saying something like, I talked to Hook, we're going to talk about, like, the future of this thing or whatever, but he didn't, like, specifically say the FTW title. but I feel like that's what he was alluding to. But I could see Hook and Roddy. I mean, Hook and Roddy would be a good match. I mean, but once again, like, anyway, that's a whole other sidebar conversation about like the too many titles thing. As far as Danielson and Jack Perry go, I do expect Danielson to win, but I think it'll be a good match that like continues to elevate Perry. Like as like one thing I really like about what AEW is doing right now that they really solidified on last night's show on Dynamite is them actually like they're going with like the homegrown talent at the top now, like pretty heavily. Like you have geez, I'm blanking. Sorry, Daniel Garcia came out and he's going to be wrestling MJF, and like they're clearly elevating. And Garcia could very well win that match too. I mean, like that'd be humongous for him if he wound up actually winning, or if it's even competitive enough that you think he's going to win a bunch of times. Like, so you have Daniel Garcia at the top, like going towards the top. You have Jack Perry at the top going for the world title. Moxley said that kind of like cryptic thing at the beginning of the show about like this isn't your company anymore, and he wants to wrestle Darby Allin, and the two of them have history as like partners and allies and stuff. It's like the beginning of AEW. And Darby's also one of those homegrown guys who I think should be at the top. So I think there's a real movement right now of like kind of like Danielson's the champion, and obviously he's established and he's a veteran, but his ultimate goal with his championship, made clear by his promo last night, is like he wants to leave AEW in a spot where like the future's ready to go, and he feels like they don't need him anymore full time. But as far as him dropping in and having matches, I mean, of course I want to see him wrestle Dana Makabe on the indies. Like, are you kidding me? Like, of course I want to see it. That would pull Makabe out of his own retirement to do that match. Which was fantastic. But that whole Makabe like retirement run, it was actually, which is similar to kind of what we're getting with Danielson right now.
Yeah.
Is like ironic enough, Makabe announced his retirement in advance, so everyone had a heads up of like going to the show and knowing it was going to be like the last time they could see him live, and like he had his dream matches all lined up of like the guys like Thatcher and everything he did like leading up to his actual retirement match against Kevin Koo, which was incredible. And Kevin Koo, massive credit to him, he was injured and he couldn't take other bookings and still did that match because it meant so much to him because him and Makabe's relationship. So anyway, that's a whole other conversation. And I'm saying a lot of this stuff because Moses right here, who's literally calling these matches I'm talking about. Which is incredible that we got Mose right here to talk about this. But anyway, yeah, that's how I feel about Danielson's run. I have no idea how long it'll last, but I'm glad that he didn't pigeonhole himself by losing the match at Wembley, retiring, and then having to have some like lame, weird way of like coming back or like just going against it. Or hell, I could see him popping up in the WWE for like a couple random matches maybe. If he's not under contract and like everyone's cool with him doing whatever he kind of wants, like Jericho pops up in random WWE stuff. He hasn't been wrestling for them, but I mean, I feel like there's the possibility there. Danielson didn't burn his bridges with that company. He saw his friends there. So I want to see Danielson do whatever he wants to do, but like, maybe he only does it, maybe 3-4 times a year instead of full time going forward. But this is great. This is the best of both worlds for you. I feel like Jeremy, dude, wins the world championship in front of that crowd. He's going to be the world champion. And when he loses the title, it's not like it's him losing the title when he retires forever. We just know it's dream matches from now on after this. So like, I'd be pretty stoked as a Danielson fan. And as a Danielson fan, I am stoked. Mose, how do you feel? And do you want to add anything to the whole Makabe kind of like Southeast stuff I just kind of threw out there? We will talk TWE here pretty shortly. And I definitely want your thoughts on, that stuff too.
No, yeah. I think that, that's a match that, it'd be huge. Especially with Washington, with Daniel, I believe he lives in Vancouver. I know he at some point did, if he doesn't anymore. Like, he's been a big part of the Seattle and Washington State wrestling. You've seen him in big matches there. So I know, if we could get that match, especially like in the Seattle area, I think that would be so amazing for, those two guys, but that fan base, that scene that has seen so much of, of Daniel's indie, because there the last few years, and I know COVID kind of screwed things up for Makabe because of, where he lives and everything, and like screwed everything up for all of us immediately. But I think that, those last few years when he was kind of, sporadically here, sporadically there, being, that real life stuff. I think that Daniel, for Makabe, it was that goal of like, I don't know if he ever thought he would get it, and he probably still doesn't. But talking to him that last little bit, the coup weekend, and it's just that you could hear it in his voice that like, I'm done. Like I unless it's Danielson, like I will not be, I'm happy to ride off in the sunset with the career. I mean, this is a guy, you got to think that the first time he competed down here in the South, the crowd didn't know him. It was in the Scenic City, it was in Chattanooga, and they didn't really know what to think about him. And then by the end of that first match, that SCI weekend, I mean, he's beloved. You know what I mean? You're talking about Jade Newman, you're talking about Brett Eisen, you're talking about these names in Chattanooga and the Scenic City that mean something. AC Mack. And Daniel Makabe's name is right there, if not at the top. I mean, you had people crying, after that amazing match with Koo, and just it's been amazing to see that. It's been really cool to be a part of that story of Daniel and getting to call some of his matches, and I would love for him to get that, man. I think not only for his own reasons, but that would be just a hell of a match. You're talking about the respect, the technical, like you were saying, Jeremy, with everything, Brian does. It's so clean, it's so smooth, and Makabe's the same way. It would be like butter, just melted butter on a big old stack of pancakes, that match. So yeah, if we got wishes, maybe if we put all of our wishes together, we can get it. Maybe Jeremy's right and Daniel will win the AEW title in Seattle or whatever for Wrestle Dream. But yeah, that's the match that, like, I think, yeah, shout out Daniel Makabe again for everything he did, everything he did in this business. Like, you can't stress the miles, the travel, like being away from home. It sucks at times. And Daniel is just always happy to get in that ring, happy to, give advice, happy to help that next generation. So it's been an absolute pleasure for Makabe. And yeah, if I had 3 wishes, I would for sure give one of those to Dan and get that match. And I'm with you though. I think you said it though about Danielson real quick. I would not be shocked if he loses that title. That makes a lot of sense what you said, Jeremy. That makes a lot of sense. I think that's something that he would be okay with. And like you both mentioned, it's not like it's over now. We know that he can lose that title and go away for a few months and be a dad and be a husband and be a hippie and come back and dream matches, baby, dream matches. So yeah, I think you guys are just on the roll today, baby. Spotlight.
Danielson is very aware of Daniel Makabe too.
Yeah,
it's not
for
like
sure.
This is not on his radar. He's mentioned facing Makabe. He's mentioned that he likes Makabe and is seen his matches. He's kind of mentioned possibly Defy as where it could happen, which Defy obviously has a big presence in that Northwest area. So I wouldn't rule it out. I really would not rule that out because I do think he does. He also talks about liking like the kind of intimate, smaller settings and doing like an indie kind of stuff. Like, I do think he wants to go and have some one-off indie matches around the country. And I could very easily see him just at some point, maybe as early as next year, just think, all right, let's do this Daniel Makabe match. Like, this is a match that a very hardcore fan base wants, but there's an obvious clamoring for it. And Danielson always talks about like wanting to give back and everything as well. And like, what bigger way to give back, not only to someone like Makabe, so just the world of wrestling in general, but like, hey, let me go to Defy for a one-off show and boost their visibility and boost, the fan base there and boost, who is seeing them and who can see me in this like smaller setting and come into this area that maybe AEW, they're doing more in the West, but maybe they haven't gone to as much. Like, that seems like something Bryan Danielson would be open to doing. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it again, maybe as early as next year.
Yeah, it'd be sick. And also, I mean, obviously, let's just assume that Danielson continues to have some sort of working relationship or like loose contract with AEW. Right now, he's saying he has no contract, but he does love to lie, learn how to lie from Cody. I don't know exactly what Danielson's contract status is.
I don't think he has a contract. Like, I fully believe there's no actual contract. He's on basically a handshake verbal deal and just hey, just trust me, bro, which I think Danielson has earned that. And Tony, clearly him and Tony Khan have a lot of love and respect for each other.
Yeah. I don't think we have to worry about Danielson showing up on Raw and throwing the title belt in the trash can or anything like that. I mean, I sure hope that isn't the case, but the reason I bring up the contract thing at all is because assuming he winds up under some sort of loose part-time contract or something similar to like what the WWE does with like Legends deals. The AEW will probably start doing stuff like that. Like Sting might be under something like that. He's like hardly ever. I don't know how that works with them. But it's one of those things where like the reason I bring that up is because Tony Khan knows who Dana Makabe is also. Like he knows these indie people we're talking about. Like I'll never forget over WrestleMania weekend this year during that Ring of Honor press conference after the pay-per-view when Tony Khan was like, I couldn't be at Action Dean tonight because of work, but I really wish. And it's like, this dude was in the middle of running AEW and Ring of Honor over WrestleMania weekend, but like was bummed out he couldn't make it to Action Dean. It's like, when you're talking about that, you're paying attention to these people we're talking about. So if Danielson were to go to Tony Khan and be like, man, there's this guy, Dana Makabe, like it'd be great indie match. We can do it in Seattle, blah, blah, blah. Tony would be like, I know Makabe. I used to talk to him on the Death Valley Driver message boards. Like, yeah, like you could, you know what I mean? Like, so that's another like just great thing about Tony Khan. Like, people can have their criticisms about like certain ways that he books the company and his dad's money and this and that, but like, or being like, pulled too many directions, stretched thin by the NFL and soccer and wrestling, all that stuff. But one thing you can't knock is that guy actually is a lifelong hardcore fan of professional wrestling, and he is tapped into the indie scene. So. That's a good thing for wrestling, I think.
Yeah, we thought like literally that was the buzz. We had heard, hey, TK may be coming to the show, and I know him and Dylan have known each other for years, so I'm being cool. Like I don't really care, but it's in the back of my mind. You're like, maybe Tony Khan shows up and he hears me talk a little bit, man, and he likes what he hears. But. Yeah. That's also, I just want to add real quick because I love him, Dylan Hells. Keep that too, man. You guys are making great points. TK and Dylan have known each other since those message board days, so maybe action. God, what if we get it at TW? What if we get it in the Scenic City? Come on, TK, help out Dylan Hells. Let Dylan Hells with this big fish.
Oh my gosh, Danielson in the TW arena would be nuts. That'd be nuts.
Hey, I don't know if there's much more intimate right now than the historic, infamous TWE arena.
No, we're gonna get more to that. But how much time do you have, by the way, Mose? We're doing a little more AEW, and then I definitely want to talk.
I've got a bet on the Colorado North Dakota State game later tonight, baby. That's all I got going on.
Okay, sweet. I mean, I appreciate you joining it because you're in Tennessee right now, right? So you're Central Time. So you woke up super early to talk to us. Yeah.
I didn't sleep great. Last night was a lot of fun. Had a really good day. Like yesterday was the first day in a minute that like I had nothing wrestling. Like I got my, we got KOBK show coming up in a week, but like everything's kind of going well. And so yesterday was a chill day. I got to hang out with my wife. We got to like eat good Thai food. So like I am ready to go today, baby. Like I got one wrestling. I got one booking this weekend. I got college football. I could not be happier to be with you guys. I can't lie.
Perfect.
Okay, Mose, you've played the college football game, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, finally.
Found someone, Jim.
Yes,
I bought Madden, so I'm like kind of in the
Madden
loop, but like
sucks.
it's been pissing me off. There's a lot of unrealistic stuff that goes down in this Madden game. I had dude, everyone goes for it on 4th down online, and I was playing last night. It was 4th and like 12. I was on defense. Dude, like hands the ball off to the running back. Running back runs into their own quarterback, spins out the wrong direction. My defender doesn't even go for the sack or the tackle, just stands there and watches him go by. Dude runs like 60 yards into the end zone off of like a 4th and 12. I just turned my system off. I griefed the dude. I was like, shit don't change. Shit don't change. Like I hadn't played Madden in like a decade. And I finally bought it because NCAA came out. Everyone got all hyped up on the games again. And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna get Madden this year. Anyway, sorry, Jeremy. I'm stealing your thunder. You've been looking for somebody who's played NCAA for months. So
I've been playing Madden, so I bought like the package deal because it was just kind of more cost efficient to do that. Yeah. But I haven't played Madden for years because honestly, it's always, at least for the past few years, it sucked and I have no reason, and my team sucks. So like I don't feel like investing a bunch of money on a game where my team's not very good. So I hadn't played Madden for years, but I got it this year because, again, cost efficient and synergy with college football.
Right.
Madden sucks. Mose, what do you think about college football 25?
Could not be happier. It's frustrating, but in the right ways. It's unrealistic, as you're saying, Jensen, but kind of in the right ways. Because the thing about college football, man, that is unrealistic at times. That's what makes it so crazy. Is you can have a running back bounce around off the quarterback and maybe hit the corner and get to the seam or get to the to get the outside. But like, it's one of those games that like, man, I literally like any extra minute. You know what I mean? When I'm on, I take my PS5 on the road now. I've never really been like. I haven't been a gamer in years just because of time, right? You guys know, like on the weekend, man, usually Thursday to Sunday, maybe Monday, I'm on the road. So NCAA 25 got me back. Like I got my PS5. If you're seeing me on a show on the weekend, like I probably got it back in the B&B ready to go. I don't know how many hours. I think I'm not at 100 yet, but man, I'm staying up. Like those first 3 or 4 days, it was just Notre Dame. You know what I mean? Like, I played them all growing up. That was still in my rotation, man. I have the 360 plugged up, and I was playing, 13 and 14 in the build up to 25. So I'm loving it. I've got my offensive coordinator season going at Jack State. Could have left after the first year to go be offensive coordinator at Georgia Tech. Not I. Sticking with the team. And then my Notre Dame, like my baby, the head coach, and just playing as the Irish, recruiting my tail off. I love it, man. I think about it all the time. I feel so bad for Haley because my wife loves sports. Like we bond over football and basketball, and she's gotten into hockey because of me. And like, I've gotten into women's basketball more for her. I obviously growing up in Tennessee, Lady Vol, shout out Pat Summit. But man, like we've really been good for each other in that sense of like sports. So there are times I'll just mumble under my breath something, and she's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" I'm like, yeah, like I'm running the 3.35 at Notre Dame right now. So I'm thinking I've got to I've got this blitz. I'm going to start coming down with my safety. And she just like, we're eating lunch. What are you doing? I'm sorry. Like it takes up so much of my time. I've got just all my bookmarks on Twitter right now are like, how to offensive protection, because it's so crazy to control, man. Like you guys said, I've been playing Madden more the last few years. I play it every year because just I need that. That's my safe place in a sense. I shut my brain off for a little bit, play some football, and the games aren't fun, but I'm a huge Titans fan. So like I love building up, the Titans. And so I've been playing it the last few years. But there's not a ton that you can do as far as you're making it your system, making it what you just you're going through the motions. So I've enjoyed 25 so much because I feel like you coach, I feel like you can play with your linebacker blitz, you can play with what your safeties, your corners, you're pinching down on the run, baby. Like I missed it. I didn't realize how much I missed being an imaginary football coach, but man, I'm just, and I got an online dynasty starting up soon with some wrestlers, like some of the boys I got in with. So I've been talking a little smack on that. Now I'm about 10 years older than them. So I'm nervous, right? I've played more college football growing up, but they're playing way more games than I am now. So I'm really curious what's going to happen when we get this thing going in a week or two, like how overly confident I might be, bro. And these kids are just picking me off. Yeah. Obviously, you can tell, man. Jeremy, I'm with you. Any second I can get, I'm on that. I'm on the sticks.
See, I really enjoyed it when it first came out, and then Madden came out, and I almost feel like I have to play it to justify spending the money.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's where I feel like I want to go back to playing more college football because it is more enjoyable. Like you said, like the unrealistic things that happen in college football feel a little bit more realistic in that game because college football can sometimes be just very stupid and unrealistic. Where in Madden, when stuff happens, it's like, okay, these guys are 28-year-old 29-year-old professionals and they're not this stupid. Like they're not this dumb when it comes to the run game. Like there's no way the guy's just gonna stand there when a guy's literally running right at him and then it's like, oh, let me just slightly move around that way. It's not even like a cut, it's just, oh, let me just go around, and then he's still just like, bro, like where's the pursuit here? Where college football, I'm a little bit more forgiving.
Yes.
But now NBA comes out in like 2 days.
Yeah.
Quite 2 days. And like I'm gonna be playing so much NBA because those games are so deep too. Whereas the Madden, that's one thing I don't like about the Madden games is like if you're not playing this ultimate team nonsense, like there ain't a whole lot of depth to these games. You just You don't get to really have fun with, and D'Lo Diggs says the same thing. Only play Madden because
My Ultimate Team. Yeah.
Oh, everything else sucks. That's the only thing to play on Madden is like the Ultimate Team stuff. Yeah, the franchise mode. This year, I don't know if it's been like this in the past years. I'm so pissed that like I played college football. I did the Road to Glory thing, got my wide receiver going and everything. I imported him into Madden. It's only online. Like the superstar mode is only online. So like I'm playing it, and like you guys, like my connection ain't the greatest in the world. So like I'm in the middle of a game. I might be in the third quarter, and if my connection drops or the EA servers, which
you get the L,
it ends it. It ends my game, and I lose all my progress. I was like, well, I just spent all this time on Road to Glory trying to get my wide receiver right so I could play him in Madden. And then now I can't do anything with him on Madden because it's all online. Oh, this really turned me off.
I hear it in your voice.
Really turned
me hear it.
Yeah, it sounds like I something I wanted to ask before so I don't forget. This actually has to do with video games and commentary. So I don't know if this is something that would like infuriate you or something that you respect, Mose. But like about a year or so ago, Puff was on commentary during Black Label Pro, and I thought it was funny because I was literally, I have the dual screen set up in my living room. So I'm literally watching BLP on one screen and then I had Fortnite on my other screen. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Fortnite was literally going through like this massive like update. And Puff was on commentary at BLP as matches were happening. And like, instead of like calling the matches, he had his Switch in his hand and he was giving updates on the Fortnite update instead of what was like going on. Yeah, I figured,
No, stop. Listen, take your commentary serious. Like promoters. I know you love having your friends on. I know you love to joke about it after in the locker room. But come on, man, you're taking away from everybody in the ring. You're taking away from this talent that could get killed in any moment. I know people may think that, but listen, like in the 7 years I've worked in professional wrestling, it's always the tiniest thing. It's never, the light tube bundle destroyer off the moon. It's always like, you step wrong. It's something like that, man. And that's maybe a year. And if you lose a year in this business, golly, bro, that's hard to come back. So yeah, I'm sure people enjoyed that, but as somebody that loses sleep over commentary and taking my job serious, I may have walked out. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, no, it's all good. And you're right about the injury. I was literally just talking to my buddy about the injuries thing the other day about how, because like we were watching All In and you're doing these crazy moves and stuff, and I think he made the comment. He was just like, man, like some of these guys probably like it's maybe like some of those moves don't seem like it's like worth the risk. You know what I mean? And I was like, dude, but when you really think about it, the majority of the actual injuries are like, it's like the Adam Cole jumping off the stage. It has nothing to do with wrestling. Like it's like someone doing a routine suicide dive, and it isn't like the guy diving getting hurt. It's like the dude who's doing the catch because maybe the dude doing the dive lands a little low and it hits like their kneecap, and like they're like it's always the weirdest, smallest things. A lot of it isn't even moves. It's stuff going on the outside where there's like a brawl with like 5 people and somebody, like in football, somebody gets blocked into somebody's leg that they don't see from a weird angle, and you get hurt off of like the weirdest, most random stuff. So like, no, I'm with you. I mean, but yeah, I just thought it was funny. But we were talking about the video games, and I remember Puff literally talking about the Fortnite updates like as it was updating, and I was like, man. But it was also BLP, and it's kind of like, Mikey, they do their own thing, and I like it. Yeah, I'm obviously a BLP fan. But yeah, just wanted your thoughts on that. Jeremy, what other All In stuff do you want to go over?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but we can hit some TWE stuff if you would like.
I'm good with that. I mean, however y'all want to do this. Chat, we appreciate y'all for bearing with us. This is a little bit different of an episode today, but I actually really like that we're bouncing around, and I love that we got Mose on here. Speaking of Mose being here right now, we will talk a little TWE. TWE 11 Years Strong was this past weekend on the 23rd and 24th. So, well, I guess, was that this past week? I'm getting my days all messed up because of me being on vacation. but
yeah, it was last weekend. Yeah,
last weekend, the 23rd and the 24th.
Correct.
2-night show. I want to focus a bit more on the second night and your involvement in the main event, but obviously you were on commentary throughout both nights. There was a lot of great stuff going on. The main event of night 2 was what seems to me to be the blow off. I mean, the look, it seems like things are settled. It was the big War Games match between Coven of the Goat, which was Nathan Mowry, Tank, Jaden Newman, and Azrael. They defeated KOBK, the team of Brett Ison, Hardway Heater, Luther X, and Sean Campbell. Of course, Mose was on the outside in support of KOBK, and the Rev on the outside for Coven of the Goat. Mose got involved during this match a few times, and in one instance that was very important to the end of the match that I'll get to. But at one point, you get knocked out by the Goat skull. I mean, out there, you and Brett. I thought that was going to be the end of the match. It was like, oh, they took Brett out of the cage. Mose just went down. It's about to be 3-on-4, or technically 5-on-4 because you also got the Rev, and stuff. And I mean, I'll just kind of set the stage for the finish of this match. I can't do the whole match justice. This thing was nuts. This lived up to the War Games expectations. I very much enjoyed this. I'm somebody who, I've talked about it a lot of times on this show. I wish War Games was like an elimination style match, because I think it'd be more interesting than having to wait for everyone to get into the match. But the way that y'all did this War Games match, I actually liked that it wasn't elimination, because there was so much history between these two teams, and because it felt like there was a reason that these guys would want to beat the shit out of each other before the match even started. So like, this was set up great, and I liked the way this was all presented. The match itself, like I said, was nuts. I can't get into every spot and little thing crazy thing that happened because it was just too much. But basically towards the end of the match, what winds up happening, if I remember correctly, this is all off the dome. Nathan Mowry does like a flying elbow with flames, literally a flying flaming elbow off the top rope. That took out Campbell, I believe. Hardway Heater, I believe, had already been taken out of the match and duct taped to the cage. So Heater's duct taped to the cage, Campbell's duct taped to the cage. Luther X gets speared by Jaden Newman through a door in the corner, and also looks like he bashes his head against the steel cage on the way down. So Luther X is knocked out. He gets duct taped to the cage. So we're at a point where everyone is duct taped to the cage for KOBK except for the leader, Brett Ison. And man, this was brutal. Jaden puts him in that hangman's clutch submission hold. For people who aren't familiar with this hold, it's like an STF with like a cravat. And Jaden takes a spike, and he's literally stabbing Brett Ison in the top of the head with this thing, with this hangman's clutch submission locked in. Brett's bleeding from the forehead down his face and literally yelling, "I'll never give up. I'll never submit." I mean, that's the whole thing. That's KOBK. That's literally the gimmick or moniker of the group is kill or be killed. Like, they're not going to give up. So our boy Mose, with tears in his eyes, throws in the towel. Mose had to throw in the towel to save his brothers because Brett wasn't going to give up. But like, I'm just going to say it. Y'all know I love Brett Ison and KOBK. I've been a ride or die fan of these guys for like a decade at this point. But
before we were KOBK, honestly, you've been there. Yeah, man, you've been there.
But y'all were screwed. I want to say screwed. Like it was within the rules of the match. But like Brett was like, he was dead to rights. Like he wasn't getting out and he wasn't going to give up. Everyone else was duct taped to the cage. You had no choice but to throw that towel in. But I could see that raw emotion in your face, literally tearing up. You didn't want to have to do it, but you did. And then after the match, Tank asked Brett, while everyone's face to face, both groups, and he says, is this done? Is this settled? And Brett's like, yeah, this is it, and like y'all left. And I thought it was beautiful. I enjoyed the hell of it. I wish you guys would have won because like I'm such a big KOBK fan, but obviously I'm down for if it was any other team, I'd be riding for Coven of the Goat because I love those guys too for the same reasons, you know what I mean? So this was, as a TWE fan, I think y'all totally delivered on War Games, man.
Thank you. I know it sounds like everybody enjoyed it. I know some like reviewers and stuff said it was, one of the best War Games maybe ever, definitely in the last decade. It was something that we're really proud of, man. 10 months of a story we told across multiple promotions. across, I think, multiple states even. It's something you don't get a lot. You don't get that a lot, man. You don't get that opportunity a lot, especially if you whiff on it. So for us to put this time in and give, like you're saying, given this opportunity to be in a War Games with essentially, a reincarnation in a sense of the Devil's Rejects from back in the day, from Wildside, from absolute legends. You got Tank and Azzy, who are both a part of obviously Devil's Rejects, and then you got Jaden the Young Gun on the way up, and Maori, the new crazy. So he sets himself on fire whenever he can.
He seems like he'd fit in with KOBK also. Like a lot of these guys could kind of go either way almost. You know what I mean? Like
it is a mirror image. I mean, if you look at it, it's we're looking at ourselves. You know what I mean? Like when I look at Rev, I see a version of me, and that I don't say that lightly. I'm such a fan of Tank and Rev. Forever. I mean, literally, like you're talking about Southern wrestling. If you're talking about Southern wrestling, I don't care. It used to be a death match, whatever. If you're talking about Southern wrestling, you're not talking about Tank and the Rev and the Devil's Rejects. You really got to do your homework. I mean, we're talking about like there's a War Games from back, I believe, in 06. Fine, like it is just an incredible match. Now they had a little bigger space than us. They, you know what I mean? Like when you add in it's a smaller venue and we only have the one ring with the one cage, it's a little less for us to play with. But like you're saying, Jensen, I think that fit us well because with the bad blood, with everything, you got nowhere to run. We're in this cage together. We're going to figure it out. That was one of the hardest, like, I have Tank telling me to throw in the towel. I got shiny shoes. I've known shoes since my first year in the business, probably. I met shoes. So it was really, it hurt, man. It was a very powerful moment, something I'm going to hold on to forever because of, when you met me, Jensen, I'm a fan, writing reviews, writing, what I can, just trying to help in any way. I'm going to shows, trying to sweep the ring, anything to help. And I'm being told no for years. So, now all these years later, and I'm with my boys in this incredible match with these legends. And, that moment where Brett's crawling out and I'm just standing next to him, I know, he wanted to go out on his own. So that image for me is something that means a lot. The fact that Brett and Dylan Hells are the reason I'm living my dream. We talked about commentary and commentary on video games. When I was a kid, I still do it. Like I don't really listen to commentary if I'm playing football. I got it on mute and I'm doing my own commentary in my head. Or when I was a kid, I would, you know what I mean? So that was what started it for me. And here I am on Friday night, the 23rd. I think it's like a 2.5-hour show, and I'm calling with multiple commentary partners. That's a different, if you've never really, doing commentary with one person, you got to figure, you know what I mean? So when you're rotating in, it's hard. And I'm really proud of that show. I'm really proud of what we did. I'm really proud of everything TW's done these 11 years. I've been a part of 5 of the 11, and for us to go out, 11 years strong, those 2 nights like that back to back, man, I can't, it's hard to put in words. It's an honor. It was an honor to be a part of that match. The Rev Sucks Egg shirt, that's something that I didn't tell literally anybody. Like nobody knew I was going to do that. I had that shirt made and I showed him. I may have told him the night, he may have seen it like before the show, but like he didn't know, nobody knew until the day of. And that was a cool moment because Rev has a history with Dusty Rhodes and learned a lot. And you know what I mean? Like Rev's been around. Rev's been with some of the greats of the greats. So there's just little things like that mattered to me. And I really appreciate you saying that. I was nervous, man. It was a hard moment. I didn't want to screw it up. I didn't want to take away from anything that those just crazy people were doing in that match. And I'm really proud of how it came across. And it's something that and you said it, like Brett, he's digging. Jaden was digging in that man's head. Like that was no we weren't working there, brother. He was digging. Like I talked to Brett yesterday and his head is still so sore.
Oh, there was no BS there, dude. You could tell. I mean, because Brett was not bleeding before the cravat, or I call it the cravat, before the hangman's clutch was locked in.
Yes.
And Jaden, all he's got in his hand is that spike, and Brett's hands are free. I mean, there was no. I mean, we're getting kind of inside baseball, but everyone knows what we're talking about. Like there was no. This was a hard way, right? This is the hard way, just like Jeremy likes it. So
digging into that brain. Right. I got to hit Tank with tubes and across these 10 months. Like, I don't know if you haven't.
Dude, that was awesome. That was awesome, by the way, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mose, I don't know if we talked. I know I brought it up on the show after it happened because I know we used that as one of our indie spotlights like that because that was the show where after all that happened, someone got lit on fire in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, we lit Nathan. Campbell lit Nathan on fire.
That's right, because then he returned the favor with the flame.
Yes, exactly.
Full circle. Yep. But that was amazing. I didn't mean to cut you off, but like you hitting Tank with the bundle of light tubes ruled.
Thank you. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was when it was happening. So yeah, if you're watching this and you're not, please go watch TWE on IWTV. Please go watch 11 Years Strong. Watch that War Games match. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything cooler. Like, obviously, I got no plans to quit wrestling anytime soon, but it's gonna be hard to beat that night, even with the loss. Yeah, I can't. Having that with Brett. I mean, Brett Heater, Sean and Luther. I talk to these guys every day. Like, it's not something some company put us together. It was completely organic. KOBK started in a car ride with me and Brett heading up to New Jersey for an ICW show, and everything since then has been our baby. We run shows now. We're across multiple promotions, and it's for me especially. Like, I don't want to talk about I know you guys got a million things to talk about, but I was told by someone I respect a couple years ago after I had this tattoo. I was told, "Well, you're not really in KOBK. You're a commentator. You're not really in it."
But so that's clearly somebody who didn't know the history of.
No, it was somebody like I mean, knowing them now, I don't know if it was kind of something to kind of get me, you know what I mean? Kind of like put a fire under me.
Who was it, Mose?
It was Dylan.
It was Dylan. Okay. He was lighting a fire under your ass.
Yeah, it was years ago. Yeah, okay. It was years ago before an action show, and we were talking about things that were happening match wise, like the rundown of the card. And it did. He did. Dylan told me, like, well, you're not really in KOBK, and I'll look at my hand and I'm like, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually, me and Brett, like, it was Brett who brought up Kill or Be Killed, but like, we put this brand together. So that and then now, right? So like you're saying, full circle from years ago when Dylan said that to me being, managing my boys at the promotion, that Dylan is putting matches together, and he's really a lot behind the scenes right now. The big change from a couple of years ago to now at TWE, a lot of that is Dylan Hells behind the scenes. So that was a big moment with me for a lot of reasons, personally and professionally. So yeah, one more time, please, if you haven't, go watch War Games, go watch TWE. I think we're doing a lot of really cool stuff right now in this Phoenix City with young talent, with really cool matches you may not be thinking about. They've got a Monday show called Crash Course that it's a lot of young talent and maybe talent you don't really see a lot, except at smaller shows, maybe in the South, Midwest. So TWE is doing a lot right now, and a lot of that definitely has to go to Dylan Hells.
For sure. I mean, Dylan is somebody who he knew because he knew you before you got in, when we were just quote unquote fans. I mean, when we were just going to sub shows, he knew us and stuff. So I mean, he knows the history. And by the way, Dylan, if you're seeing this, the open invitation to join the spotlight. I've thrown the invite out there. It's been a while since I interviewed Dylan. Like, we used to do Fight Talk pretty often. And then I interviewed him for this, the Weekender, like really early on when I started doing the Weekender podcast for Fightful. And it's been a long time. And I keep just missing him because I want to go to shows that he's going to be at. Then the show gets canceled at Doss Barbecue or whatever. Then I can't meet the next one or whatever. Or I know he's got stuff going on, but I would love to be able to catch up with Dylan Hales because I've talked about it 1,000 times. There might not be anybody I respect more on the independent scene than that guy. So, I obviously echo everything you're saying about him. I mean, and you know him better than I do. Obviously, you work with the guy all the time now, which is I think y'all are a great team. So yeah, I love it, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here without Dylan. Good friend, my mentor. He's made me better. He's really hard on me. Really hard on me the first couple of years when we were working together, but it made me better. You can't be soft. You know, when you have someone like that that's seen so much and been around wrestling, you know, even before he was in the business, he just such a huge IQ of wrestling. And I just he gave me that first up. I'll never forget. I mean, Dylan, excuse me, Dylan. He loves to he loves to put you in a position to see how you're going to react. He loves to, you know, sink or swim in a way. And my first sup match, I definitely sunk. I didn't know, you know, that was the goal, Jensen, right? You know, I was doing commentary at small promotions, and I was doing commentary, not getting paid. I was filming the shows and editing the shows and doing commentary as my way of like, I'll film you and edit your shows if you let me do com. So the day I'll never forget, the first sup match, I'm in the Beast, and Dylan comes up to me and goes, "We're going to put you on a match." And mind you, this is maybe 20, 30 minutes where the show's going to start. So I'm like freaking out. I don't think I'm good yet. I wasn't good yet. They put me in there. I wasn't working with Dylan. I was working with the other guy at Sup at the time, McCash. And
yeah, Steve McCash for sure.
Steven is he was definitely more of a two-man to Dylan, right? Dylan's always going to be the one man in the booth more than likely. I mean, maybe a random night, but he's so I was planning on being the two-man, but Steven really hadn't been the one man enough to know how to like take the reins. So I definitely I cannot listen to that match. I can't listen to that match. There's too much downtime. I'm not doing enough.
What was the match?
It was the Smoking Buds versus IFHY.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, I was very close with the Smoking Buds. Shout out Cody and Dave Morton. I don't know if they wrestle very sporadically now at all, but it was a cool moment for me. But I learned a lot in syncing that day thanks to Dylan, and that's another thing that like Dylan is so good at just setting those little like, let's see what you do here. And that happened recently, man. Like he had to miss a show, and I don't know until it's like the day of, you know, it's like, hey, Dylan's not going to be here. We need to figure out what we're doing, and it's all up to me. So I figured it out. But it definitely, yeah, man, Dylan, I could talk about Dylan, man, all day. Cause him and Brett Eisen, I'll go to war for. They've put me in position. I've done the work and all that, right. But they've put me in that position early to live my dream. And I get to do it all the time now with my friends. It's one thing to live your dream. It's another to get to do it with people you really care about and you know, put on good stuff, good product. So yeah, shout out Dylan for real.
Last thing I'll say about both guys, and I'll pass it back over to Jeremy. But last thing I'll say about both guys, Brett Eisen, best Southern Underground Pro champion of all time, Bone Storm champion of all time.
Fair, for sure.
And I think Alec Price is still technically the champion. I don't know.
I think he is.
Yeah,
I think he is.
I really hope we get at least like a one sup reunion show of some kind sometime in the future. I know everyone's doing their own things now, and it's hard to lock down these venues and stuff like the Basement East now and stuff. I know there's problems, but you know, I'll always have a spot in my heart for Brett Eisen as the champion.
I will give you a little bit. I can't say much. What I can say is for roughly the last 3 years, anytime I've had an opportunity to pitch sup matches to Dylan Hells, I've been on it. And earlier this year, I pitched 3 matches to him that he really loved, a couple of, if not all 3. Like I'm talking eyes lit up, Dylan Hells doing the thinking face of like, oh, we could do that. So there's some talk, at least early stages. Do not get excited. Don't. You know what I mean? There's no date, there's nothing, but I'm doing everything I can, Jensen, to get you back in East Nashville for a sup show. I mean, I'm to the point I'm calling Dylan at 2 a.m. Like, you remember those matches? We need to book them. Man. Well, so I'm working, baby. We're working.
The KLBK events are almost like spiritual successors to sup. I feel like if y'all can book Alec Price, just get him to defend the title at those shows. I mean, I feel like that's a, and I don't want to finish what I was going to say about Dylan. I was just going to say the last thing about Dylan. A fantastic Tennessee Cloverleaf. I as somebody who is an aficionado of the Texas Cloverleaf, my favorite submission hold of all time, Dylan Hales has a fantastic one, and he locked it in nice on Negative Lee recently. Going back to what were you saying about sub?
No, I wanted you to know that. We're trying. I'm doing everything I can. I'm hassling Dylan. The idea is open now, that he's not the only person. There's a brain trust with Sup, but we're closer than we were, a year ago, a few months ago, to maybe in 2025, maybe. Now, like you said, the biggest thing is a venue. You can't just run a Sup show anywhere.
Right.
So we got to find the right venue in East Nashville, but just don't worry, baby. We're trying. We're really trying to get that back, because I'm with you. Like, the world is better with Southern Underground Pro in it.
Yes. I love hearing that. Jeremy, are they doing work on your place right now? Is it too loud? It's too loud?
It's a little bit. I tried to mute for a second while they were doing it. It's kind of.
I know. I'm paying
off,
attention.
So it's okay right now.
Okay. Mose, I know you got a show coming up. When is that going to be airing? And it will be will it be IWTV or somewhere else?
What, the KOBK show?
Yeah, the KOBK show.
Yeah, so we do IWTV. So September 8th in Indianapolis is the show. We use Prophet of Ash when we're in the Midwest to film, and that guy's dope. Literally, like, I think the last show we did up there, I want to say we had it up on IWTV on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Like, shows on Sunday. He'll have the footage to me before he goes to bed that night. I run commentary. We bought a setup for our shows this year, picking back up. So I have the commentary file. We send it to Sean. I send it to Sean Campbell. He puts everything together. He gets it to IWTV. So I don't want to count my chickens, but that show's September 8th. I would assume. I would almost bet money we will have it up maybe by the 11th, 12th. Within 3-4 days, maybe sooner, it'll be up on IWTV. This show's called 85 Territories. We've not announced anything yet. I'll tell you guys. Why not? We're doing Sean Campbell and Big Dave.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Big Dave's been on a run.
He's on a run right now, baby.
Yeah.
And he's locked in, and he's like.
Did he just pin Adam Priest?
He did.
Like this past weekend. Yeah, yeah, that was huge. That was interference from Manders. They're still building that Manders action feud with him and Priest. But no, Big Dave with that win.
September 7th, live on IWTV, Manders versus Adam Priest, Battle of Cell Creek. That is a Scenic City show. I'll also be on commentary there. Yeah, he did. Big Dave just beat Priest, maybe the biggest win of his young career. I've known Dave. Man, I knew Dave when he was still a fan at New South. So when I was there doing comms, so I see a lot of myself in Dave of that. You just grind and you don't really know how to get in the wrestling business. You just kind of try to find a way in and not screw up. And Dave's doing it the right way. We're doing Sean Campbell, Big Dave. That'll be our main event. We've got Hoodfoot on the show. We're doing the Original Sins, which are a really, 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 really good tag team out of the Midwest against Totally Shook, who are the TWE Tag Team Champions. We're doing that match. We will have Hardly Heater on the show. We're not going to have a ton of matches, right? It's an outdoor parking lot bar show. It's kind of like Dazed and Confused vibes. We got fans come out. You pay $20 for a ticket. You can pull your truck up and sit and have a few parking lot beers, and we goof a little bit. It's not as serious as that's the thing about. I really can't. Thank you, Jensen, for saying that. We feel like Sup, because that's literally that was when we started this.
I don't say that lightly.
No, when you were there, it's one thing for someone to say you guys remind me of Sup that I watched. You were in the shit. You're in the trenches with us there at the Beast.
I mean, I was sitting there interviewing Slutty Cat, bro, and look how that guy turned out. You know what I mean?
Oh my! Shout out Slutty Cat.
Shout out Josh Bishop. He's going to take over the world, bro. And we were talking to him when he was Slutty Cat, dude. We've come a long way, man.
Putting on bangers. He had he had so many crazy matches there. I was telling I think Manders forgot him and Kerry Awful had an absolute ass beater in that building. Go back and watch Young Man. I mean, Southern Underground Pro, there's so many guys right now that are on the top of the Mance Warner, just real certified dudes and ladies and non-binary people that are killing it, that were on Sup 4, 5, 6 years ago. So yeah, please support Sup, because if those Sup numbers go up, maybe we get that show a little more. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, man. We're really excited. September 8th is our show. It'll be up on IWTV. Please go watch our back catalog. I think we've done 5 or 6 shows now across the last couple years. Last year we didn't do any. I was traveling too much. It's hard, especially with ring, man. I no ring shows are easy. Like stress, easy. I could run a no ring show in 5. You give me 5 minutes of time and some kind of locker room to prepare. We're running that, but with the ring, more money out of the pocket, more this and that. We're definitely, we've done, I think, 3 shows. This will be our 3rd show this year. We're hoping to do 4, maybe 5. Bring it back to Nashville. Please, please, please go watch anything KOBK on IWTV. New show coming out. Like I said, 10th, 11th. I'm trying to get it out by the 11th. It'll be up.
Okay. Easy date to remember. So September 11th,
Yes.
around September 11th would be.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Okay.
It should be up by the 11th.
Okay.
Never forget.
We will. We'll try to get you back on around then after the show is up, so we can maybe recap it a little bit. I'll definitely be one of the indie spotlights. So yeah,
it'll be a short show too. Don't worry. We did our last Duke show. I think we did 5. We did. It was like a little over an hour. Our Cobra show, it was less than an hour. This one will probably be maybe hour and a half. So it's not going to be a long show. You can knock it out. It's matches. You're probably, if you are going to get somewhere else, you're not going to get them the way we cook them up.
Yeah, I love it. Jeremy, got anything left to add?
They're still working around here, so
I think we can see when you're muted. I don't think that they.
I don't think the audience can.
But
yeah.
That's why I've been trying to keep you out of it too, because while you're muted, I'm just assuming they're banging on your ceiling. So
yeah, I think it's kind of okay right now. Mose, we appreciate you joining us, man.
Yeah,
I know it's
Thank
you.
you.
Early for you, even earlier than it is for us. Go ahead and plug everything once again.
Yeah, please follow me social medias. Mose KOBK, MOSE KOBK, KOBK Wrestling on IWTV, NGW this weekend. Battle of Cell Creek next weekend, live on IWTV. KOBK show the 8th. It should be up. TWE September 14th. I won't be there, but support TWE. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Always a pleasure. I could talk to you guys at 6 a.m. if you needed me. But yeah, thank you guys again for real.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. We will we'll let you go, and I'll be in touch. We'll definitely catch up after KOBK's next show, and we'll talk about it. Awesome. Thanks again, bro. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you guys. Have a good rest of the day. Go Irish.
Thanks, Mose. Enjoy your day, buddy. There we go. That's Mose has been on the show more than anybody else.
Him and Cole are the top 2. I mean, if Cole shows up today, I don't know. Mose might be a little bit high. The 2 of them are battling it out. Cole really needs to make an appearance here to try to keep up.
Does he have the link? Does Cole have the link?
I think I sent it to him last night. Let me just double check.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent it to him last night.
He messaged me yesterday and it's like, what time am I on the show today? I'm like, I'm pretty sure on the show tomorrow. So
he messaged you yesterday thinking it was the show?
Yeah.
I sent him the link last night and said to jump on anytime between 8:30 and 11 a.m. So Eastern time. So if Cole can't make it, he can't make it. But I mean, hopefully he can. But we can go back to All In and start hitting WWE and stuff.
All right, so All In, what else stood out from you besides the main event?
So obviously the main event was awesome, which we already talked about. If you missed it, go to the beginning of the show, y'all. We did talk about the main event and Danielson, what we expect out of him going forward. Another match that I thought was great was Will Ospreay versus MJF for the International Championship, formerly the American Championship. You were right. Tiger Driver sealed the deal.
Oh, yeah.
So
I was right about a lot of things, but what in particular?
Yes, you were right. You were right about we were both right about Ospreay winning, and having a big moment at Wembley, especially if they're not going to be going there next year for this show. Did they announce that they're going to go to Wembley for a different show?
They're doing Forbidden Door next year in London. They've not said Wembley. They just said London.
Okay.
I'd be a little surprised if it was Wembley, to be honest.
Same. But yeah, the Ospreay versus MJF match I thought was awesome, and I loved MJF was wearing the Lex Luger USA gear and stuff, and it's hard to break matches down between Ospreay and MJF on here because they do so much stuff, but we talked about it leading into the match. I really liked MJF's run as American champion and all that stuff he was doing with that. So from that sense, I'm kind of bummed out that that's over. But then the way that they immediately, like, I mean, because Daniel Garcia got involved in the Ospreay and MJF match, and then of course Garcia attacked MJF last night, and I think Garcia cut a really good promo on the microphone last night as well. Cole just messaged me, by the way. I don't know if he's watching and just heard us talking about him or what. He said he'll be on in 10 to 12 minutes. Okay. That's very specific. That's very wrestler-ish. He's probably like used to being like, I'll be there exactly at this time. Do not start the show. All right. Thanks, Cole. If you're watching, we'll be ready for you when you get here. But yeah, I like that they're building Garcia. Like, they've been building him for this. And I like the way that he was talking about how he pawned MJF's diamond ring to get the money so that he could use that to fly over.
Well, I want to know when this thing was stolen then, because MJF said it was stolen in London, but if Garcia pawned it in Buffalo to get to London, it was clearly stolen before MJF flew over to England.
Right. Yeah, continuity errors a little bit maybe. But I like the idea of that. They're like, I'm not going to even spend my own money to fly over there and attack you. I'm going to use the money from your ring to pay for this flight. But the reason I bring that up is because I was a little bummed out that MJF lost the match. I mean, like, I expected Ospreay to win. I think Ospreay winning was the right move. I don't have anything against it. It's just, I liked MJF as the American champion. And I was like, okay, well, where are they going to go from here? Because I doubt he goes right into the world title mix. But now it's like, okay, the Garcia stuff, I like where that's going. And I'm a big Daniel Garcia fan. I was a big fan of his indie run pre-AEW as well. And like, I think he's another one of those guys. TK has obviously been super high on this entire time that he's been under contract, because we've seen him constantly involved in things. Like, he was main eventing a lot of shows a while back and stuff. Like, so at the end of the day, like, I really liked Ospreay versus MJF, and I like where it's heading, like, for both guys coming out of that. How did you feel? Did you feel like this match lived up to the hype, and like, did you like this better than the hour-long match?
So I'm not gonna be. I feel like I'm about to be nitpicky here, and I apologize for that. Okay. Oh, I like the Ospreay and MJF all-in match way more than the hour-long match, but that's also a personal preference. I think most people know that I do not like matches that are like over 18 minutes.
Right.
And this match was much shorter. So real quickly, to be a little nitpicky, Paul Jobber finisher. That's the magic of it. The heist was too good. We can't comprehend how it happened. Very fair. Here's the thing. MJF had that ring on the Dynamite that was in Cardiff, Wales. So he had that ring with him after he had flown over. So I guess technically he has multiple Dynamite diamond rings, because he's won, even though they only really use one, he's won that Dynamite diamond ring like multiple times. But he had that ring on Dynamite in Cardiff, Wales. And then he said he lost it, or it got stolen in London. And Garcia says that he pawned it in Buffalo to fly to London. Yet it was with MJF in Wales.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, just I'm with you. I'm with you. You're making sense. But wrestling doesn't always make sense, you know.
Maybe he stole it in London and then he shipped it to the pawn shop in Buffalo because he wanted to make sure it was there, and then he got and then it got back to him, the money, the wire transfer. I don't know. You can make it make sense. I'm just being a stickler for nonsense here. I really liked MJF and Ospreay. It went about how I expected it to, with he finally used the Tiger Driver, but I thought the work was really clean. Again, I liked it more than their hour long just because it was shorter and it felt more to the point than the hour long match. I thought the finish was correct. I figured Ospreay was going to win. I like that Garcia's back. He's getting involved. They're going to do the match at All Out. That should be good. Very curious as to who wins that, because MJF doesn't take a ton of losses, and taking back-to-back losses like this would definitely be out of the ordinary for MJF.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you want to beat Garcia just first match back like that. So it's it's going to be interesting to see who actually wins this match. I would have Garcia win.
So would I.
But I don't know if that's going to be the play, because I think MJF is a little bit more bulletproof than Garcia. Like MJF,
way more.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, way more than a little more. Yeah,
That's
Garcia.
That's the reason I'm okay with it. If that wasn't the case, I wouldn't want it. But like MJF, like we saw him pop, like he became the champion after the Wardlow squash. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So yeah, you're right. MJF's way more bulletproof than Garcia. I feel like if Garcia takes this loss, it's going to be like, oh, okay, so you pushed him for like 2 weeks and now he just loses again. How does he come back from this? Like, it's just another stop and start thing with Garcia, where if MJF loses, he can talk himself into another big program and it's fine. And he can move forward with that.
Yeah. I'm with you 100% on all that. Like I do not want to see MJF lose often. Y'all know how I feel about MJF. I'm a longtime fan of his. Another one of the guys that I've followed on the indie scene. And I've talked about it on a personal level plenty of times. People probably like hear me talk about this, but it is the truth. Like there aren't a lot of like Jewish representation out there for like pro wrestling at like a top level. When I was a kid, we had Bill Goldberg for like a short time, but before that it was like Barry Horowitz basically going out there getting jobbed out with like the Star of David on his trunks every week. You know what I mean? It's like MJF, like I'm a really big fan of him on like a personal level, and I think he's an incredible professional wrestler and like the best heel that the wrestling business has seen in a really long time. So I think he does need to be protected to a certain degree, but like we're both saying, he can afford to lose to Daniel Garcia, I think, at All Out, because that makes Daniel Garcia. And then you can always have like a trilogy between the two, or like a Hangman and Swerve style thing where like they're linked together for a long time, but like they do their own thing and kind of constantly come back to one another to settle the score. So I would prefer if Garcia won the match, because once again, it makes Daniel Garcia if he wins that match. And Garcia is a guy that I think deserves the opportunity to be a top guy. Like if this was there were plenty of people, to be fair, if they were in this spot against MJF, I would say no, MJF still needs to win this one. Like he shouldn't lose to that person. But like Garcia, and a lot of it has to do with that they have slow built him clearly with him in mind to be a top guy for a long time now. So it's like I have faith in what they're doing with him, and in that when he becomes a top guy, it's gonna work. So yeah, we're on the same page there. And then the other thing I really wanted to highlight, because there's a lot of matches, it was a long show, a lot of stuff we could talk about. One main other thing I want to say, outside of the main event, my favorite match of the entire show, maybe even my favorite match on the show, period, honestly, the finish of the Danielson Swerve match and stuff, and Danielson winning, like that was the best moment for sure. I'm not gonna even act like that wasn't. But my favorite overall match experience as a fan up until the end of it was probably the Casino Gauntlet. I thought that match was so much fun. Seeing Nigel McGuinness come out there and like actually like look like his old self, like that was really cool seeing him go out there. The amount of people in this match. I mean, you had Orange Cassidy, Okada, Nigel, Kyle O'Reilly, ZSJ made a surprise appearance, and obviously he's coming off of the G1 Climax win. You had Roddy Strong, Mark Briscoe, Hangman Page, Jeff Jarrett got a massive pop. Ricochet makes his AEW debut, goes out there and looks amazing, and like everyone's already talking about how fast until we see Ricochet and Ospreay in there. Killswitch was in there, but I did not like this finish of Christian Cage. You know, Christian Cage comes out, and then Killswitch is the next one out. Killswitch basically hands the win to Christian Cage. We've seen Christian in the main event scene enough, I feel like, in AEW. I think he's a great heel, but I feel like they're going to do some sort of story about Christian with like Danielson's dad and stuff. Like there's stuff I'm sure that they'll do that will be entertaining. And the match between Danielson and Cage will be good eventually when it happens. But like, that was my main thing, was like, I felt like that match was so stacked and it was so wide open for the taking for like somebody different and new. And then it just like was Christian again. I was like, and it wasn't even him winning the match. It was Killswitch doing it for him again. So I don't know. How do you feel about that? I thought the match itself was a lot of fun. I just didn't like the finish.
The finish definitely felt very flat, and it felt like it took the wind out of the sails of the crowd, because it was very unexpected. Once Luchasaurus comes out, it's like, oh, finally Luchasaurus is going to break free from Christian after all the abuse he's taken. And then no, even though he was Luchasaurus, he just still helped Christian. Very toxic relationship Christian and Luchasaurus has. I don't know why Luchasaurus is a fan of all this abuse, but he clearly is just taking it and continues to go back to Christian. Christian, because of the cash-in aspect of it, I think Christian makes some sense because he is a dastardly heel who could just do this whenever he wants. And I kind of thought they might do Christian beating Danielson at the end of the night.
Oh, gosh.
I know people would have hated it. I would have probably not liked it as a big time Danielson fan, but I also would have enjoyed the chaos of it.
Oh, man.
Like I would have been like, you know what, you know me, I'm chaos demon. So like I would have been like, hey, you know what, this is good chaos stuff right here.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. I've kind of already booked this in my mind of Danielson beats whoever he's going to beat at Wrestle Dream. I assume Danielson's family is going to be at Wrestle Dream because it's in his close enough to his hometown. Danielson beats who he beats at Wrestle Dream, and then here comes Christian Cage to win the title from him, and that is the closing moment of Wrestle Dream, is Christian winning the title. Danielson gets his standing ovation, like off air and everything, and he comes back. They can do a match, an actual singles match, but like I would not be shocked if that is the Wrestle Dream finish of Christian Cage winning and giving Danielson's family a father they can be proud of, a champion they can be proud of at the end of the show. I really thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
At All In.
Yeah. All we would have needed would have been like Tony Khan in a referee outfit, pedigreeing Danielson after he wins and telling Christian to come on down with the briefcase. But yeah, man, what I really respect about what you're saying right now, Jeremy, what I respect about you on a personal level right now is that you're the biggest Bryan Danielson fan that I mean, there's a lot of big Danielson fans, but you were constantly Danielson's a go, Danielson's a go, Danielson's a go. You're constantly tweeting about it, talking about it. Like but even you're also such a troll at heart that you're like, yeah, but even if Christian
I'm chaos above everything.
Yeah.
I'm chaos above everything, 100%. Like, I love Bryan Danielson, again, my favorite wrestler of all time. I was very happy that he won. I would have been fine if Christian had come out there and just taken that moment, and it would have just been the most chaotic thing ever. Because I don't have that kind of attachment and love to wrestlers and wrestling as a whole, to where I'd much rather just get jokes off and laugh about things, and the stuff that people hate, I probably find very funny and entertaining. And they would have hated if Christian came out there. Like, again, I don't think they like that. You mentioned you're a person who has said, like, yeah, I don't know about that finish with Christian winning. I saw that finish and I was like, oh, interesting. And then I just started laughing. Like, I just started laughing of like, oh, that's amazing. Like, sure, Christian wins. That rules. I was just cackled after it. Like, I found it interesting. I was like, I don't know if I would have done that, but you know what? Not my company. It makes me laugh, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, I literally, I logged on to X right when the match ended. I honestly didn't look at social media hardly at all throughout the show. I was just enjoying it. But I did look after that match, and most of my time I was just like, fuck that finish, worst finish, hate the finish, awesome match, terrible finish. I was like, yeah, I feel like a lot of people feel like how I feel right now about it. But I mean, that definitely would be some chaos whenever Christian, I mean, especially if that happens at Wrestle Dream, and that's a great heel thing for Christian to do, though. Like, he could all like, I ended the in-ring full-time career of Danielson, but then like Danielson's like, a few weeks later, he's on the microphone like, yeah, you ended my full-time career. I'm still part-time. I still won at Wembley, and I'm still going to kick your ass and win that title back from you, because that's not how this is going down. So, yeah, I don't know. And then the other thing about the show that I want to bring up real quick, because once again, there's a lot we can talk about, but congratulations to Mariah May for beating Thomas Toney for the AEW World Women's Championship. I like that. I love the story between the two, and Mariah May winning, definitely the move. Also, shout out to Jamie Hayter for finally returning. It's great to see her after like over a year. So
I thought that was the second best match on the show. Mariah May and Toni Storm. That was my second favorite match behind Danielson and Swerve. The Casino Gauntlet is good in the concept. is very good. But I didn't have a whole ton of investment in the match just because, like, the Jeff Jarrett pop, I thought they should have called an audible and Jeff Jarrett should have just won because he got like the second biggest pop of the night after Danielson's victory.
Yeah. Me and my buddy were watching it. We mentioned that as it was happening. I turned to him and I was like, "Remember in like 2001 and the year 2000 when like everyone thought Jeff Jarrett was too old then, and everyone was bitching about him being the WCW World Champion then, and we're in 2024 and he's getting the biggest pop of the show right now. Like, good for that guy."
Yeah, but I thought Toni Storm and Mariah May, that was the match I was second most interested going into the show, and that was the match that I thought was the second best coming out of the show. From start to finish, I thought both of them have absolutely killed this, and the match was great. I was concerned about the placement because second can be a tough spot, especially you're following a ladder match, but the crowd was into it the whole time, and they worked a very good match to where the crowd kept into it. Mariah slapping her mom, Toni getting busted open, Mariah reviving Nigel's career with a kiss, like all of it worked. And yeah, I thought that was a great match. And now we'll see what the follow-up is. I know Mariah did the thing last night where she canceled her celebration, but then posed and got a bunch of clicks and likes online for what she was wearing. And now we'll see what actually happens wrestling-wise with Mariah May. I imagine Marina Shirakawa is going to get involved in some way. They were showing her before and during the match, so I imagine they're going to kind of follow up on that.
We're saying Shirakawa. Oh yeah, Shirakawa, because they showed Shafir also. You said you like combined their two names. You said Marina Shirakawa.
Oh, did I? I meant Mina.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, but they also showed Marina Shafir though, so that's why, because she was seen recently as well.
Yeah, Marina Shafir
right.
was on, or yeah, was last night aligning with Moxley. Right. But Mina Shirakawa, I did say Marina Shirakawa. Sorry.
Right. No,
Mina
it's okay. I know what you meant. But yeah, and also just for what it's worth, I think I brought it up on the show before, but like I knew of Mariah May. We actually like through social media, like Mariah May used to be before she was even training. I remember her being like just like a for what it is. She was like a really hot wrestling fan that people knew like from the internet, and she would go to like WWE shows and like kind of like cosplay wrestlers and stuff, and like we had like mutual friends and stuff. So like I like knew of Mariah May before she like was really even like in wrestling, but I knew she was like a really big fan. And to see her go from like fan to what she's at now is absolutely incredible. Like, I think that is like, people will do documentaries on that one day of like, because she got good fast. And like, I think I've said since the beginning of her being in AEW, she is the total package. Like, I think it makes total sense that she'd be the AEW World Champion. She's gorgeous. She's great in the ring. She's great on the mic. She's got a great character. She's got history with Toni that makes sense. She's got all these matches that are ready for her that she has against opponents she's never had before, and some that she has history with. I think that Mariah May is it's a home run. She's going to knock it out of the park and be a long time success story for not just AEW, but her whole wrestling career. I think she's going to have a great career going forward. On the flip side, last thing that I'll bring up on this show, because I know we got to move on. I'm kind of also trying to stretch time a little bit because Cole should be here any minute. But Mercedes versus Britt Baker, how do you feel about that?
Wasn't good. It was fine. I don't think it was as bad as people are saying it was. But my concerns of the match going into it were basically true here. And one thing I think hurt them, they had to follow MJF and Will Ospreay. That was going to be tough. You're following a moment of the hometown guy, Will Ospreay, winning the title, using the Tiger Driver, and just overcoming MJF. That was going to be a tough follow. The issue was they tried to follow it with kind of an epic of themselves. Like, they wanted to go out there and just obviously have a really great match. And Mercedes can work to that level. Britt, and I said it leading into the match, she didn't have enough ring time coming back. Like, I think overall Britt's fine as a worker, like before her injury, coming off the injury, coming off having like a stroke. Like, that's a lot to overcome. And then the Sheeta match wasn't very good. And then she faced Harley Cameron, who works a slower pace. Like, Mercedes is go. And if you can't go, then it's going to look kind of how this match looked. I think Britt was just in a tough position overall. She didn't have enough ring time coming back. She was working somebody who works at a little bit of a quicker pace, and the styles did not mesh. And they wanted to go out there and they wanted to have a really strong match that had lifted the crowd and had big moments for the crowd. And the crowd just kind of wanted to come down after Ospreay and MJF. And Mercedes, I don't know if you saw what she wrote about in her newsletter of how she would have changed stuff from the match. She said that maybe they did things that she wished she had saved for a different time, and she wished she'd listened to her instincts a little bit more. Like, she took some blame for the match, and good on her for kind of putting it out there. And she recognized the mixed reaction that people had to the match, and that she said she didn't hear the crowd very well, which is just a thing in stadiums in general. It's tougher to hear the crowd, but yeah, it was a styles clash that it did not work. And I think it had, going into it, a lot of things going against it that they couldn't overcome either.
Yeah, I'm with you on all that. And one other thing I want to mention about that is I'm not a fan of Mercedes Moné's finisher. I've been trying to I've been trying to bear with it, but that thing looks worse than Little Sebastian's Curse. And speaking of Little Sebastian's Curse, we are joined by.
Dude.
I just wanted to transition on in. I love that move. I love the Little Sebastian's Curse. I love that and the Crackerjack Bomb. I'm a big fan of both. We have Cole Radrick joining the show. Cole. I don't know if you saw, we had Mose on earlier. We have our most I guess, what's the word? For the people who are on here the most often.
Most frequent?
Today.
Yes.
Most frequent. That's a word.
Yeah.
That's a word. Cole, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good, man. Still recovering from the weekend. Had a crazy weekend. Saw a friend over there, Jeremy, at the Smitty, and had a good birthday weekend. My birthday was Sunday, so just kind of hung out with friends, and right back to the grind of getting back to wrestling, man.
Oh, man. Well, I was out of town, and I was not on social media, and I did not know it was your birthday. So happy birthday, Cole.
Wow. Fake friend, Stephen Jensen.
I was in the mountains at a casino, man. I didn't have reception for most of the time I was there.
I mean, I can't really blame you.
Cole, before we get into the Schmitty, because I do want to talk about that, and I can't wait to watch it, because it's not available to watch this yet, right?
Not yet, no.
Okay. I have seen some clips.
Yeah.
Jeremy went pretty viral with some of these clips as well himself.
Yeah,
but first
no hashtag of the Smitty though.
I'm sorry. Well, the thing is I uploaded that while at the event, which I wasn't using the hashtag for any of the pictures and stuff that I uploaded.
That's
and
fair.
it did not upload until the day after, when I finally got home. And
No, when I started going crazy, that's when I was like, my girlfriend was like, hey, look at how many views this shit has. I was like, oh shit.
Well,
I was like, let's go, dude.
It did
I'm
go
glad
crazy.
you took those clips.
And I tried to do an article on it as well to give it some extra publicity. And once it comes out on streaming, I'll do another article to give it even more publicity. But yeah, I figured it would do really well.
It did all right, I think.
It's something goofy in wrestling in the best way
transcends
possible.
wrestling. People recognize SpongeBob characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know wrestling, you're like, what the hell is going on here? I do want to talk Schmitty, but I don't want to forget though to bring this up, because GCW Homecoming was this past technically I keep getting my days screwed up because I was on vacation. GCW Homecoming just happened. Was it this past weekend or Saturday? But it was 2 nights. So that's why I'm getting everything all screwed up. Anyways, I was marking out massively during the triple threat ladder match. We had Joey Janela versus Mance Warner versus Blake Christian to for the undisputed GCW champion to finally settle this once and for all, one title belt going forward. And at the end of that match, Effie comes down to the ring to stop Matt Cardona, who would also put himself in the match by that point. So it becomes a 4-way. Cardona gets taken out by Effie, and then I hear the music hit, dude. I hear all my friends are dead, and I'm like, dude, was Cole kayfabing us on the show the other day? Is he coming? Is he ready to come back already? And then I was like, dude, JBL stole Cole Radrick's theme song. Dude,
I'm just
what were you
saying.
thinking when you saw that?
I don't know, man. I look at the brass ring every day. It's right by my bed. And it's just like a little ticking time bomb for whoever has the world championship. So anytime, any place, anywhere. JBL may have came out, but I'm just letting people know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was freaking out, dude. I was like, dude, if Cole's ready and he was lying to us about no timeline, like he got me. I really thought, but what I like about that too is it's keeping the seeds planted. It's keeping the fans reminded at GCW. Cole Radrick, when he comes back, he does have that brass ring, and you better be ready because I do expect you to become the GCW champion when you return, Cole. I really do hope that happens when you're ready.
I'm just saying, time's ticking. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
I love
Can't
it.
wait.
I love it. Any other thoughts about GCW Homecoming before we talk Schmitty?
Yeah. Shout out Alec Price for stepping up against John Wayne Murdoch, getting thrown through a pane of glass. Drew Parker came back to America to compete in death matches, and Drew Parker does what Drew Parker does, and that's be one of the best in the absolute world at what he does. And I watched the World Championship match very carefully with a very watchful eye. And there's one thing when I put my head down, there's one thing I think about when I wake up, and that is that Cole Radrick is a world champion.
Yeah.
That's going to happen one day.
Did you have any idea your theme song was going to play?
I don't know. Did I?
Kind of get in your head a little bit here. I love it, man. I was very surprised to see JBL, by the way. I was
what the fuck was that?
Oh, man.
Poor Effie, man.
Oh,
Garrett, Cardona.
Effie.
It's all the ex WWE guys. Like the second that they want to make a name for themselves outside the company, they just go after Effie, man. That seems to be the move.
That's poor guy. Just come on down. Oh, also, like everybody that comes down for WWE fights Effie, and then goes about their business. Like, what the fuck did he do?
Right.
Like, what did he do wrong to all these people?
Well, I think it's a matter, and I would imagine Effie would agree if he heard me say this. I think it's a matter of Effie's established, right? Like they know, like they might not know a lot about the indie scene because they've been up in the clouds in the WWE and on mainstream TV for so long, and then they leave and they're like, well, who's hot? Like who do the fans know? Like who sells a lot of merch? Who's got buzz on the indies? And like Effie's gonna be at the top of that list, and they're like, okay, go after a big dog,
Effie has a deeper level of understanding of wrestling than a lot of people will ever give him credit for. And I think when these guys come down and they're like, oh, it's the indies, it's whatever. And then they like meet a guy like Effie and they're like, oh, like they actually do shit down here. Like it's not fun and games. Like it's not fucking around. Like we go in down here. GCW, you step up or you get out. You know what I mean? And that's like the fun part about it. Is when you are competing, you're going against the best wrestlers either in that area or in the world at any given point. And those people in the area are fucking hungry and they want the spots. If you're going to get some of the best people in the world, they want to travel where GCW is traveling to and go with them. So you got to compete and be ready. And Effie does that at a high level every time. And a lot of these people, when they come down and they're, maybe they think it's going to be kind of easy. Effie's like, we're going to work today, pal.
I love that. I've heard Effie. It was a while back. I heard him talk about, and I like that he did this because not a lot. Because let's be honest, because he can do that. He's a level that he can do it. I'm about to say. I remember him having the balls to go on like his podcast and stuff publicly and talk about like not wanting certain big names coming in and taking up people's spots. And like, dude, like you're not a draw just because you come from a larger company. Like a lot of these people are, but it doesn't make you a draw. And like you just said, like if you're going to come in and try to take people's spots from people who are, who are busting their ass and traveling and making a name for themselves and really, really want it on like a different type of level. Like, so I think that goes into it too. Effie's not afraid to speak his mind and call these people out either and be like, you know, like we don't need, like, we're doing fine. We don't need you.
Yeah.
If you're going to come in and you're going to contribute and make things better, we'll give it a shot. But
No,
like,
yeah,
if you're
absolutely.
coming from a bigger spot, doesn't mean you're a draw. Like, this is a different game.
Yeah, and you know, it's like we care about the place that we wrestle for, and we want it to be good. So if you don't want to contribute positively to that, then that's an issue. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm not saying like it's a huge issue, but like nobody wants negative energy around. You know what I mean? We all want to go to our workplace and have fun and kill it and do good things, and that's like the most important thing is, you know, like, you know, pro wrestling is not a team sport, but like if you can feel part of a team while doing something individually, like nothing can beat that. You know what I mean? Like nothing feels better than going to war with your guys, going in front of a sold out crazy crowd and stepping up. And some of these people have never seen you wrestle before, and you're expected to fucking kill it. Like, you better do that. You know what I mean? And bringing anything less is disrespecting anybody else that wants to do that, that wants to show up, that wants to kill it. You know, like for me, like that's a big motivating factor. Like, not wrestling fucking sucks. Like it's all I do. It's like my favorite thing in life. Like, it's all I've ever wanted to be. It's all I ever wanted to do. And now I'm just sitting at the sidelines at home watching all this shit go down. And I have the brass ring right by my bed. I look at it every day, and I'm thinking of it as if I was operating at a 80%, 75% level when I won this, what's going to happen when I take this motherfucker home and I run with that ball? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So every day I'm working towards that. I'm working towards being a part of that GCW roster that goes out there, that kills it every weekend, that goes all across the world. And it's just a ticking time bomb, man.
Yes. Jeremy's been dealing with some construction, by the way, at his place. I can't tell when his mic's muted if like he's good, if you can talk or not. Are you good, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Last thing I had, and then I wanted, because you were out to Schmitty, so you know a lot better about the experience there, Jeremy. So I kind of leave it to you to ask those questions. But like, last thing I wanted to bring up as far as like GCW goes, you mentioned Alec Price. It's got to feel good seeing him out there, like still wearing your jersey and stuff. Keep your name out there. I
That's
mean,
what
like,
I did.
It's super cool. Like the family that y'all like have, you know, in that
Absolutely,
company.
man.
So, and Alec, man, he's just another one. It's almost like I'm torn, right, as a fan, because like I want to see you as the GCW World Champion, and that is the main thing that I want to see you accomplish, because you've been wrestling for so long. I was a fan of yours when you were just like jumping around like local indies and stuff, and like, you know, I've been a fan of, as you know, I've been a fan of yours a long time. And I want to see you win the GCW title, because in my opinion, like that is outside of course, like the WWE World title and the AEW World title. Like, I think the GCW title, like that's the one for me. Like, I think that's the, you know, like when VIF won the GCW tag titles, I marked out, and I was in the building for that. I marked out more than almost anything I've been a part of ever. Like, I love GCW. As a fan, that's like my most prestigious. I mentioned these other titles, but like as a fan of indie wrestling, the GCW title is super important to me, and I want to see you win that title. But then on the flip side, I'm also like, man, you and Alec Price got a great thing going. Like, he's always out there representing. Like, I could totally see the Garbage Daddies as the tag champions, but I feel like that's
not both.
I was about to say, I feel like that's attainable without even the brass ring. I feel like you all can take care of that separately, and I'm all for that. Why not both? Let's go.
Why not both, brother?
Yeah. Just don't take it from VIF just yet. I love the run that VIF is on with those GCW tag titles right now. Like, they have the most defenses in one title run in history, but they're gonna need more team. I know that they've been putting more teams together and stuff, but you know what? Sorry, what was that?
I said hi, Kevin.
Yeah, hi, Kevin. But you know, Los Macizo is breaking up. That's going to put a little bit of a void out there for needing some more teams to step up. Alec Price, not, you know, nothing against you obviously, but I think that occasionally Alec Price will team with Marcus Mathers. I think that they do well together. You know, so there are teams to keep filling that void. But yeah, VIF to me, is not just the best tag team on the indie scene. BIF is, I think, the best tag team in wrestling, period, right now. So, but you guys had a shot against them a while ago, and it's been a while.
In
In
Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's right. That was hometown. But that was also really pretty early on in the Garbage Daddies run. Like the main thing y'all done up to that point was you were the last East-West Express match before Nick Wayne went full-time with AEW, and then went pretty much right into that tag team title match.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so it was like 2 weeks after, I think.
Yeah. See, I watched GCW. Anyway, Jeremy, what do you got for this committee? I want to know more about this show.
Cole was, I mean, how much insight you want me to give here, Cole?
No super spoilers.
No.
Like as long as but other than that, whatever you want to give.
All right. I mean, I'll kind of tie everything together as best I can. First off, very proud of you. And I got there early. Oh, look at this man rolling his eyes as I'm trying to praise him. I got there early. I wanted to help as much as I could. You wouldn't allow me to do anything. And
you drove.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. It was only a 5.5 hour drive. It was to support you and to
each way.
You. No,
each way,
yeah,
right?
5.5 hours each way. Yeah, so 11 hours total.
A lot of driving.
That's fine.
Thank you.
That's fine. I stood the entire show because I was like, oh, I'm going to sit driving the whole way there, and I'm going to sit driving the whole way back. So I didn't even sit for the show. I stood the entire time to support you.
I appreciate you, buddy.
No, but like everything looked really good. I'll admit this, like I was surprised at the turnout. I didn't know what to expect. I've been to indie shows. I've seen very small crowds, and I was like, oh, there might be, like 50, 100 people here. I don't know. Like it was way more than that. I was like, oh, this is a really good turnout for this show. Again, the venue looked really nice. The way you set it up looked really nice. I know you were stressed going around. I legitimately felt bad. You were going around trying to get things in order with your boot on and everything. And I'm like, wait, Cole, please let somebody, but I understand that you want to do everything. You want to make sure everything is right the way you want it done. I was glad once the show started, you were able to decompress, and it looked like a lot of relief once the show started. But I don't fully know what goes into all of this. Obviously, I know what goes into it a little bit, being at shows and talking to people, but like it's a lot that goes into this. And you being the person responsible for all of it, I can only imagine the stress and the pressure that you were feeling. And I was talking to my wife about it of like 3 weeks ago or so, like you learned of this injury and you're trying to put all this show together on top of this, and like just being able to kind of push one thing aside because it's like, okay, yeah, I'm hurt, but like I got this show to run in 3 weeks. Like I can't imagine what that actually took. So that's on top of everything, the way the show came off. That's why I'm extra proud of you, of just like all of this together. I know took a lot, but it was good to see it all come together. And I was more than happy to be there, and I will continue to be there as long as I can bully you into running the show.
All right, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, man, it was a lot for sure. Like, again, the Space of the show I haven't ran in 5 years, so like I've said every time, like the reason why I did not want to run it is because the first one was so good that the second one had to either be absolutely blow it out of the water, or it would have been a failure, and then the leg injury happens, and I'm dealing with all that, I'm dealing with setbacks and everything else, and luckily, like at the end of the day, like not only did I book, great, or not only were people that were in the tournament awesome people to work with because of their professionalism and how easy it were. Like I had a really good support team around me. Like, and the guys, Andrew over at Explosive Entertainment helped me out with the entrance way. Hybrid Championship Wrestling helped me out with the lighting. New Era Wrestling made sure I got the ring, like they made sure it was set up and everything, that I didn't have to worry and stress about that day of. I had my buddy Cam Adams from Paradigm. He helped me get the show all together. And day of, he was making sure that like the small things I wasn't thinking of that he was thinking of. My girlfriend Karina did the entire aesthetic for the show. So she's setting it up, making sure it looks cool and that it looks proper. And I was just really lucky to have such good people surrounding me to where that it would have been able to be pulled off, you know. And a lot of fucking people showed up for sure. Like a lot more. Like we had backup bleachers. We had to put in an extra third row. Like we had all these things that were backups for the best case scenario, and like it was best case scenario. And the show went off really well. Like I think we told 3 different stories all in one night, and that the crowd really, was happy. We made a lot of good memories for kids that they will never forget.
That was my next thing I was actually going to bring up. In Jeremy's clip, it sounded like there were a lot of kids there, which is like a really great thing because a lot of indie shows you can't do that because of like the content that's going to be like death matches or whatnot. There might not be a lot of kids there. It seemed like this was a very family friendly show.
And it was very kid interactive. Like there was a lot of moments where like it felt like an interactive show more than it felt like a normal wrestling show. So like whenever I would talk about it, I said it was a pro wrestling experience because like we wanted to be different. We wanted it to feel different. We wanted you to go home feeling like you watched an awesome movie rather than you watch another wrestling show. You know what I mean? And I think what was also surprising is yes, there was a lot of like kids there, but there was also a lot of like adults too that came by themselves to like enjoy a wrestling show. Like, they were into the action. They loved the SpongeBob and Patrick. Like they loved Hillbilly Jed. They loved Jay Lucas. They loved all these different people. Like that's what was really cool is, we had such a diverse group of talent and such a diverse crowd to where they enjoyed everything.
I don't know whose call this was, and if it's yours, please take full credit for it. I know there's already the clip online of some of the kids beating up Trevor Outlaw, and so that's not spoiling anything. That's online.
I didn't call nothing.
Okay.
Those kids just hate Trevor Outlaw.
Fair. Honestly, fair.
He sucks.
Honestly, very fair. So there's that clip online, and you mentioned like the kid interaction, and this was the thing that like I was really the most like impressed by. Of there were a lot of kids, and not only like you said, were they just like there enjoying the show, like they get involved multiple times. There's that one clip that I just mentioned. There is more than that of when
there's like 3 or 4. And
yes.
But the thing is it's not they were never at risk. They were like it was all safely like. Yeah. And that's the best part is you can find ways to make it fun and create memories for these people and these kids. And they would tell their buddies, and the next show they would be like, "Let's go!" You know what I mean?
Oh, bro, they'd be talking about that at school, and for sure, that's the story they're been telling everyone. That's awesome.
I posted the photo of the winner. And there's like 20 kids in the ring with them after.
Sorry, Damian Cole from New Era. Sorry about all the kids being in the ring.
But yeah, like they're all just like celebrating, and it's like, oh, this is such a cool moment. And after the show, the wrestlers are taking photos. There was this one kid who like dressed up as like a SpongeBob. I have this photo. I didn't want to put it online because like I don't want to put anything online that these kids don't want out there, the parents don't want out there, but I took it for my own, just like personal. This is like really cool that this person made a whole SpongeBob outfit for this show. Like I was really impressed by that. But yeah, the kid stuff of again getting them involved, I thought was really, really fun and real. I was really like, oh, that's great. Someone needed to do an RKO though. I was talking to your girlfriend, and a couple kids were like, do an RKO. And I was like, oh, somebody's got to do out here and just do an RKO. So kids can pop off.
The SpongeBob Patrick was, a 3D is half an RKO.
Yeah.
Half an RKO.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Very fair.
I just want to say thank you, Jeremy, for coming out. It meant a lot to see you there. It meant a lot knowing that you drove 5.5 hours and then right after the show, drove 5.5 hours right back to your house. It meant a lot that you drove all that way to come see a dumb creation that I came up with, and that somehow came to life and worked out better than it ever should have. But yeah, man, I just wanted you to know it meant a lot. It meant a lot for everybody here at Fightful covering it. You, Joel, Steven, like anybody that hopped on, hell, even Sean hopped on a couple times. So like the support y'all threw my way, it's always sick as hell. I love coming on here and shooting the bullshit with you guys. And maybe we'll shoot the bullshit about our event in December when we return to the Owen Valley Sports Complex. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Midwest Territory comes to the Owen Valley Sports Complex in December. And we're going to keep pro wrestling fun and keep creating new experiences.
Hell yeah. And Cole, I know you had a hard out for your what you got going on after this.
Yep.
So if you got to bounce, I don't know if you had anything left, Jeremy, before Cole left, but
yeah, I was going to thank you. I just wanted to say thank you, buddy.
Oh, well, I feel partly responsible for this show. I had literally had nothing to do with it. But the first time you mentioned the first show on our show, I did say, if you run this again, like I will be there. I will do whatever you need me to do. I wrote the article that we needed to bully you into doing this show. So I did feel a little bit responsible. So I had to be there. And I'm super glad that I went. I will continue to go as long as you are running it and however I can help out, I'll continue to do that just as a fan of you and a fan of SpongeBob. So
I appreciate you, bro.
I had to be there. I appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Steven. I love you guys.
Love you,
Bye,
dude.
buddy.
Have a good rest of your day, man. Thanks for dropping in.
You too, guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Always great to see Cole on here. I was just kidding about Little Sebastian's curse. It's actually one of my favorite finishers. I love that finisher. Kind of a convoluted setup, kind of like Mercedes move, but like the payoff is totally worth it. Mercedes just kind of like drops you on your face and like doesn't look like it really hurts. Cole looks like he kills you with that LSC. So thank you once again to Cole for joining the show. And so hey, right there, Jeremy, that was we got GCW. I made sure to get my indie spotlights in there with both our guests. So we got all the TWE. So indie spotlights is done, guys. Like we got TWE spotlight out there. We got GCW spotlight out there. So we're down to just WWE and Sid basically left. I think of pretty much just the stuff to talk about, which is pretty much perfect on time because we were thinking probably about 11 o'clock getting out of here because that's about the time our interviews would normally air if we weren't doing live. So this is perfect. We got about 35 minutes for y'all to talk WWE and Sid Vicious before we get out of here. So thank you very much for everyone who's watching the show right now and bearing with us as well. A little bit different of an episode, but I figured it would be a good idea to take advantage of me, not having to clock in for my shoot job today and get some familiar faces and some of our favorite guests on the show live for y'all today. So I hope y'all enjoyed that.
And plenty of insight with the Smitty and me being there, and then with TWE and GCW. I did watch both of those shows. I was very surprised when I heard Cole's music. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, I literally almost texted him like, you kayfabed us? You were ready?
I didn't
think. I was like, JBL stole your music.
Yeah, I didn't think like it was gonna happen because I literally saw him the day before and I was like, there's no way I feel like he could have made it, but I know that was like a late night for him and he was moving as best he could, but I just didn't think like, oh, there's no way this is actually going to happen. So, but when his music hit and like Effie's like, come on, I was like, oh shit, what if?
Oh man, I was marking out massively in my. It wasn't quite Cody Rhodes winning the WWE level pacing around my apartment, but like it was pretty close. I was pacing around. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, Cole. We talked about it before. Cole means a lot to us as somebody who we get on here a lot as a guest. I'm legitimately a fan of his as a pro wrestler and as a person. So I'm really looking forward to whenever he's ready to come back and cash that brass ring in. That'd be a hell of a payoff too. If Mance holds onto this thing for a little while Cole recovers and Cole takes Mance out, that would be pretty huge. I think I'd love to see that. So Brett Lauderdale, if you're hearing this or you're seeing this, do not forget about Cole Radrick and that brass ring because I'm looking forward to that return. But yeah, Homecoming was great though, all the way around. Good, two great shows, and I feel like GCW is killing it right now. I think they're doing really well. So
they are, and I think the biggest thing coming out of Homecoming, obviously Matt Cardona's back in the ring, but Nick Gage is not. back in the
Yeah.
ring. And Brett
Yeah.
Lauderdale kind of had to address that. We're not going to speculate on what's going on with Nick Gage, but Lauderdale did say that, he was not there, doesn't know when he's going to be back. Whenever he is back, he has a home in GCW. So best wishes to Nick Gage. He's, part of our other intro for our other spotlight.
Of course.
We're big fans of Nick Gage, and I just hopefully everything is good with him.
And I don't want to speculate either, but what I will say, and this is just based on what you just mentioned, because I don't know because I don't remember exactly what Brett said out there, but I don't know if Gage wasn't there or not. I just know that he wasn't able to wrestle for whatever reason. Because Brett came out and said, like, this wasn't a travel thing. He's like, I'm not here to make excuses. Nick Gage can't wrestle tonight. And like, we don't know when he will be able to wrestle again. So I don't know if he was there and just like wasn't good to go. I have that's where I don't want to even continue to speculate any farther than that. But I just want to put that out there too. I don't know what happened, but Gage was supposed to wrestle Drew Parker on Homecoming, and he was supposed to tag team with Matt Hardy the second night, and he did not compete either night. So first and foremost, as you mentioned, Jeremy, though, I hope Nick Gage is okay, and I hope that he is able to come back when he's ready, or I don't know what's going on, but it is a little concerning, because I'm sure you remember, this wasn't that long ago. Like, he missed that match with PCP Manny. That was like a really big deal to Manny, and like they replaced him with Janela, and then people were like, man, I hope Gage is okay. Like, what's going on with Gage? So it's been in the back of my mind for a minute. Like, but then we saw Gage come back and he wrestled Matt Hardy, and they set up Homecoming. So I was like, okay, so things must be all right. And then like he missed so as a Nick Gage fan, I am concerned, but I hope everything is okay. And first and foremost, his actual, like, what's most important is that he's physically and mentally okay. So like, I just hope that he's okay. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it was a bummer that he wasn't there. The fans really wanted to see him.
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
It's going to be Bash in Berlin this weekend. It's on Saturday. Is Cody Rhodes finally going to lose this title and end this boring reign that he's been having? Just
dude, get out of here with that BS. Come on, man. You really think he's losing to Kevin Owens? Now, I will admit, I did not see whatever happened on SmackDown, so I don't know if there's been any more progress of like any kind of tension between Cody and Kevin.
There was there was a segment, A-Town Down Under showed like basically a video package of Kevin Owens and everybody he's turned on in his career.
Oh, okay. They showed Jericho in there. I did see people talking about that. Okay, gotcha.
And Kevin was like, yeah, well, all those people deserve it, except for Kofi. Kofi didn't deserve it. But everyone else, they had it coming. And then there was a moment where Kevin had the title and it looked like he was kind of hitting Cody, but then he just like put it into like Cody's chest and then just kind of walked by him to try to fight A-Town Down Under. So those were kind of the teases of the tension there.
Okay, gotcha. And also just so y'all know, because I'm sure you care about this, where I was streaming from before when I got back into my office, out where I've got like that Cody Rhodes 2K24 poster that I was in front of for a little while here on the show. That whole wall is now WWE Cody Rhodes posters with him like holding the title and like the WrestleMania 40 posters and stuff. So I'm continuing to build that wall. I also have a life-size Cody Rhodes cardboard cutout out there as well. Very proud of that. Cody Rhodes definitely won't be losing to Kevin Owens on this show.
Nah.
Definitely won't be happening. I think it'll be a great match, though. I really do. I think Kevin Owens will rise. I shouldn't say rise to the occasion. Kevin Owens has always been great. I don't want to downplay Kevin Owens' greatness, but like, I think that he knows how big of a deal this is. Like, to get a world title match right now at this point of his career, and then also that it's against Cody, a guy he has a lot of history with, and Dusty was a mentor of Kevin Owens when Owens was in NXT and stuff, and like he was one of Dusty's kids when Cody was actually Dusty's kid, but dressed up like a space clown, a Stardust at the time. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm looking forward to any Cody Rhodes title defense, and I think this will be another good W in the win column for Cody as champion as he continues to build, kind of build his resume heading into, eventually Randy Orton. I feel like that's brewing, and that's got to be coming at some point in the near future, I feel like. And then before we know it, we'll be on that road to WrestleMania again. As crazy as that sounds, like we'll be will be Royal Rumble season soon, leading into WrestleMania, and of course, you have The Rock and Cody Rhodes match already built in that they teased and left hanging when The Rock left. But you also have the intangible of Roman Reigns is back. He's a massive babyface, and he's feuding with the Bloodline and trying to take those guys out. And eventually that'll lead to Roman versus The Rock, you'd imagine, as well. So they got like 2 major Rock singles matches, Rock and Cody, Rock and Roman, and like which way you're going to go with all that and when does all that happen. So I feel like we're gearing up towards that, but Kevin Owens is a nice stop on the way to that. And I totally expect Cody to defeat Kevin Owens.
You shouldn't. Kevin Owens should win the title.
I can hear the guy on your.
Yeah.
It's not actually not as loud as it's not like.
Oh, yesterday was bad because they were doing like jackhammering. I think right now they're probably like cutting into something, which is.
Gotcha. Remember that was happening to my ceiling the other week. I had to bad timing. I love how people do this stuff so early too. It's like do this one like I'm wide awake. Well, you wake up earlier than I do. It's already. Like,
they're here all day. Like we're getting a lot of work done.
Oh, okay.
So this is not like a one-off thing. They're here from like 9 to 5, basically. So
when that stuff happens to me, anytime there's any kind of maintenance being done on my place, they don't tell me at all before they show up, and it's always at times where I could get another like 2 hours of sleep in, and I'm just like, could y'all have just not shown up at like 9 instead of 7? Like,
I don't know. This is not like maintenance. Oh, something has gone wrong. We are like remodeling stuff. So,
nice.
This is a full-on rebuild here.
The EP getting some cool stuff.
No.
No, it isn't like her. It's not her decision to make.
I mean, it's her decision, but we got 12 kids, so we gotta deal with
ready.
it.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
As far as other stuff on Bash in Berlin, because I doubt, do you have anything to add to the Cody? Or are you just going to talk about Cody losing until I tell you to shut up?
I don't think he's going to lose. I don't think he should lose. The match will be good. I'm curious about the post-match, if it is a full-on turn after that, or if they just like hug and embrace and like, oh, okay, cool, we're friends.
Yeah, I think that something like that would probably happen. Although I'd honestly prefer for Owens to just like turn heel and just like get vicious again, especially now that Triple H is involved. Like, there's a little more leeway. Let me put it this way: when we saw, I almost said El Generico, when we saw Sami Zayn do the El Generico style brain buster off the top at WrestleMania, one of the first things I thought of was like, okay, how long before Kevin Steen gets to do a package power driver? And like, I feel like that's going to be reserved for a big moment, probably a big title win or like a big heel turn or something like that. Because like if you're gonna let things slide and let you be a little more creative, if people are watching this and they're not familiar with Kevin Owens, prior to him in the WWE, he was one of the most vicious, ruthless, just psychotic heels in wrestling history when he was on the indie scene, specifically in Ring of Honor and his feud with El Generico. So I just want to throw that out there too. I'd love to see him more. I loved Kevin Owens as a heel in NXT, like when he first came in and won the championship and feuded with Sami Zayn back then. I loved that heel title run for Owens. That he eventually dropped the title to Balor, I believe, in Japan. Anyway, so yeah. And I don't know what Power Driver Finish was talking about in the chat. Is Jensen trying to just get Cody's title reign over with? No, I want a forever title run. I want Cody to surpass Roman Reigns. I want this to be. I want to get to WrestleMania 50 and Cody still hasn't lost this thing. And also, Joseph M says Cody board or cord board for my Cody cutout. Some play on words there in the chat. Thank you, Joseph, for being a part of the show. But no Power Driver Finisher. I do not want Cody to lose the title anytime soon. I hope he defends it and retains it over The Rock. Also, I think it'd be sick.
Probably not happening. What else from the show stands out to you?
Well, I mean, it's only like 5 matches that we know of, and they're probably
all it's going to be.
Yeah. Which I like. I like how I people have their complaints and their nitpicks of both companies. Too many matches, not enough matches. It's all a mixed bag, and just enjoy it for what it is, or don't watch it or don't hate watch. You know what I mean? I like the 5. I like the 12 match All In show or whatever it was. I like 5 match WWE PLEs. I like that they give each match breathing room between matches, and they run video packages, and I actually enjoy it. And part of the reason is because my buddy Hughes that always comes over for AEW, I've been trying to get him back into WWE recently, and he's been watching some of the PLEs with me, and he's a perfect example of, well, he's much more than a casual fan. He's a hardcore wrestling fan, just doesn't watch WWE anymore. But the point is, if you don't watch the product and you tune into just a PLE, they do a great job with the production of like keeping you looped in of like what's going on, who's who you should cheer for, you should be booing. I like the 5-match PLEs. So anyways, obviously CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, that's happening again. This is a strap match. I said before, and I'll say it again, I think, I'd have McIntyre win again. If it was up to me, McIntyre would win every time he wrestles CM Punk. But realistically speaking, I think McIntyre can afford to win this strap match again, but then they're going to have CM Punk win the third match, which will probably be at Bad Blood, probably in Hell in a Cell. And I'll be there live cheering for Drew McIntyre during that one in Atlanta. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, how are you feeling about this one? I mean, I feel like it's like an extension of the feud that they've been having for quite a while now, and it's just different match type. But do you think that Punk rather beats Drew and ties it up going into the last match, or do you think Drew McIntyre wins again, setting up for like Punk has to win match 3?
I think if it is the touch 4 corners gimmick, I think Drew can win in almost a backdoor way of Punk knocks him into the 4th corner.
Right. Something. We talked about that. I forgot that you brought that idea up, which is a good idea. The similar to the JBL Eddie Guerrero match, where that's basically how JBL won the title, was like Guerrero basically falling into it basically.
Yeah. So I think they can do that if it is the touch 4 corners gimmick. And then that sets up a third match at Bad Blood, potentially Hell in a Cell, that Punk finally wins and gets his bracelet back and ends things.
Yeah, I'm with you. You don't seem very excited for this one.
It's not that I'm not excited for it. Like, I think Punk's energy has been a little off in that. I mean, I like McIntyre's promo on Monday where he's like, oh, here comes CM Punk glad handing and all this stuff. Like, he's just going to attack me from behind. And then CM Punk attacked him from behind. Like, strap matches are weird to me. I don't like the 4 corners gimmick. Like, if it's just a straightforward strap match, you pin the guy. Like, all right, cool. I'm for it. But touching, I'm going to beat you so bad that, like, I'm just going to touch these corners. Like, that doesn't do a whole lot for me.
Right. Especially when the idea is, like, you're strapped to one another so that, like, you can't get away from the other person. It's almost the same type of, like, backward psychology of, like, a steel cage match where you win by escape, where it's like you're supposed to be locked in so that you settle the score and that you can't escape or have outside interference. So yeah, I'm with you with that 100%, especially because I guarantee you there's going to be scenarios in this match where it's going to be like, Punk can win right now. He's got Drew McIntyre dead to rights, but he doesn't want to touch that corner because he wants to keep putting the beat down on Drew to pay back for everything he's been doing and stealing the bracelet and all this stuff. So I guarantee you, if McIntyre wins, it's going to be presented in a way that, like, Punk had it in the bag multiple times and, like, opted not to finish the match to continue the beatdown, and then Drew wound up winning in the end, which also will keep feeding into the idea of a third match, probably at Bad Blood, probably at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. I'll take Drew McIntyre though, and then we have Gunther versus Randy Orton. I'm obviously looking forward to that. Just for the World Heavyweight Championship. If Orton wins, then he goes to Raw, and if Gunther wins, Gunther goes to SmackDown, which is an interesting stipulation. I would expect Orton to come to Raw either way if he won the title, but Gunther having to switch brands is strange. But at the same time, I guess it kind of makes sense though if you're looking at it from like a GM or like a sports standpoint of like, well, we kind of need to make a trade then. Like, you can't just, if you're SmackDown, like, you can't just have Randy Orton to Raw. Like, you've got to get something in return. You know what I mean? So it makes sense from that sense. Joel Pearl with the chat. Let's put that on the screen for our buddy Joel. Going to be hilarious when CM Punk wins by touching 4 corners, and then Drew comes out the next night and says, quote, Punk, you may have won, but you never pinned me. And then we get the match at Bad Blood. Yeah, that's super likely as well. That's super super likely as well. So, but yeah, as far as Gunther and Orton, I'd expect Gunther to retain, but I think they're going to have to keep Orton looking a certain level or I mean, it's Randy Orton, he's bulletproof, right? But we all think that Randy Orton is going to be wrestling Cody Rhodes at some point for his title, so we'll just kind of see how long they space that out.
Yeah, but all they got to do there is like a turn, and then people are invested.
Yeah, you're right.
That I don't think the turn's going to come anytime soon. By the way, like it might Survivor Series happen, but yeah, I don't think it's coming anytime soon. Yeah, Orton's pretty bulletproof. He can lose to Gunther, and it'll be all right.
Well, no, I mean, I expect him to lose to Gunther, and I know he's bulletproof enough to lose to Gunther. But my concern was more like how soon after losing to Gunther, especially losing clean, probably or hopefully, like then do you get a shot at Cody, who technically has like the bigger title, technically speaking.
Yeah,
but if they space it out, that's fine.
The thing is all Cody does is fight a bunch of losers, so it makes sense that he would just like, oh, Randy lost, I'll give him a title shot. That's been my entire title reign. Oh, this guy that lost at WrestleMania to LA Knight, AJ Styles, let's give him a title shot. Oh, Solo Sikoa, who hasn't won a match in like a year. Yeah. Let's give him a title shot. Kevin Owens admitted he didn't deserve a title shot, but you know what? Let's give him a title shot. So it makes sense that Randy would lose and then get a title shot at Cody because that's been his whole reign. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I hate that I can't argue that. I hate that I can't. But the defense that I would make is like Orton's a GOAT, AJ Styles is a GOAT. You know what I mean? These guys are like, we talked about Bryan Danielson, and somebody mentioned it earlier when in the chat when we were talking about Danielson. They were like, one of my goats would be AJ Styles up there. And I was like, I always bring up AJ too. I think AJ is a legit, like if AJ, I guess he technically main evented WrestleMania with the Boneyard match with Undertaker, but like, I feel like if he had like a legit main event WrestleMania match in front of fans, like a real wrestling match in front of fans, and the main event of WrestleMania, I think that would solidify AJ like really, really, really. He's already way up there for me, but that would solidify him even more. But anyway, the Miz power hour finisher mentions. I could see that maybe happening if the Miz turned. Has there been any tease of the Miz turning on R-Truth lately? Does that look like it might happen?
R-Truth has been sidelined and hurt because
that's right.
Reed took him
that's
out.
Right. Bronson Reed. He'll be a good title challenger eventually, hopefully.
My hot take was that Sami Zayn is actually higher on the pedestal than AJ Styles.
I would disagree with that, but I could understand how you could make an argument though for that.
I think AJ's career in like TNA and New Japan, and I think people just overall enjoy his match catalog more than Sami. I think when it comes to like WWE and the importance of like WWE, I don't think it's super close, honestly.
Well, I mean, AJ has been multiple time world champion. Sami's has never won the world title.
Yeah.
I know Sami's had WrestleMania moments and like the big match and Elimination Chamber in Canada and stuff. I mean, I could understand the argument you could make there, but the thing I look at with AJ, and I've talked about this before, is like you can literally, I know this sounds insane, and people who weren't around for it won't understand. And I know you were around for it, so I think you will understand. You could literally take AJ Styles' TNA and New Japan run as its own career, and then his WWE run as its own career, and both would be Hall of Fame level careers. Like, I think AJ Styles is the kind of guy, like, had he never even wrestled in the WWE and ended his career after his New Japan run, he still had enough clout as, like, the guy who was the best to never wrestle in the WWE. And, like, he would have been, like, he maybe never would have made it to the WWE Hall of Fame, but they have inducted people that weren't really WWE guys in there. But then, like, even if he didn't have the TNA run and didn't have the New Japan run, if he took just his WWE run, he's a WWE Hall of Famer. He's accomplished more in that run than a lot of people who only wrestled in WWE their whole career have. So, like, that's where I feel like AJ is almost like an anomaly, where like he's almost like a double Hall. He's like two separate careers that are both Hall of Fame worthy. So, like, you know, that's not many people can say that.
And look, AJ Styles is one of the guys who got me back into wrestling when I went through a lull after WCW got purchased and the Invasion sucked. And then a lot of my favorites retired or just weren't as active anymore. Like, Styles was that guy on the indies and then TNA who really got me back into things. So it's not a knock on AJ Styles at all. I do just think very highly of Sami Zayn and what he's actually accomplished in WWE, despite not having a world heavyweight title run like AJ's had.
Bro, I've got this thing. This is sick. It's AJ Styles, the Nitro shirt.
Oh my God.
They made this figure. They made this figure randomly a couple years ago of young AJ, because like technically him and Air Paris like were on WCW, you know, for like a few weeks before the company got bought. So they made this figure. I think what Mattel was thinking when they made this was like, yes, technically he was in WCW. We're going to make a WCW figure. But for all the people out there that have wanted like a TNA AJ to display, like, you know, you just pop this shirt off and like give them like a custom hoodie or whatever, and you got a TNA AJ, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pretty cool little Easter egg of a figure that a lot of people probably don't even know is out there. But I remember Air Paris and Air Styles out there, and they were NWA Wildside guys from Georgia that like wound up, you know. Anyways, yeah, this our spotlight had nothing to do with AJ Styles, but I will always take an opportunity to hype up and glaze AJ Styles. He's, like I've said 1,000 times, if I had to make a list of my favorite professional wrestlers of all time that I legitimately think have like GOAT status, AJ is definitely on my list. He's in like the top 5, top 3, probably. Like he's way up there.
All right, let's go on to our final spotlight. It's sadly a sad spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
Wrestling World lost Sycho Sid, Sid Vicious, Sid Justice on Monday.
Yeah.
Very, very sad. Sid was one of my, I think people know this. I talked a lot about this in the week, so I won't rehash a lot. Sid was like one of my favorites. Growing up, I just always enjoyed the presence of him. And just the way he was just captivating, but also hilarious. Like he just had some hilarious moments that were unintentional, but it's like, that kind of rules. Didn't seem to take himself too serious on that kind of stuff. And then as I grew older, I appreciated it even more because he was just a straightforward kind of wrestler. You knew what you were getting with Sid. And I enjoyed the wrestling that he did. And I appreciated that it was so just straightforward. And he would just maul people and toss them around. And I always wanted to see him return and do something a little bit more. And now you kind of understand why it didn't happen. But yeah, it was sad and very unfortunate. And, you know, what are your thoughts, Jensen?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously agree. You know, us being the same age, we grew up on Sid Vicious. He was like, you know, everyone, excuse me, everyone who does like a power bomb as a finishing move, you know, I always like when people add their own little take to it, right? Like something a little different to make it their own. And for Sid, he would do like the power bomb a lot of time, like he'd do it like from the side where he'd like pick, you know, kind of pick you up on like one shoulder, or he'd go like down to a knee when he dropped you and stuff. It always just looked like he was killing people with that thing. I always appreciated his believability. One of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life was him going off the ropes in WCW and just destroying his leg. That was, I remember watching that live. I was in middle school at the time. And I remember that because I remember kids talking about it at school the next day. And I was convinced that it was a work. I was like, they stuffed like pillows in the dude's boot like that because it looked so fake. I'd never seen a break like that where like the thing got right angled. You know what I mean? I was like, this is, and so from that sense, it's not surprising that he never made like a full on like big return. Like he did come back a little bit after that. And I think the last thing he ever did was like the Heath Slater thing that I can remember.
He did one more match after that, like an indie match.
Okay. But yeah. I'm trying to remember what match. Do you remember what match that was?
The indie match?
Yeah. Could you look that up real quick?
Yeah, I can look it up.
I feel like. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till
it was G&W against Paul Rosenberg.
Okay, gotcha.
Which I don't think it's that Paul Rosenberg.
No, well, you're talking about Pete Rosenberg.
There's also a Paul Rosenberg, Eminem's
Oh.
manager.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, it was always a bummer that we didn't get like a real return. But listen, the dude loves softball. That's been a meme for a long time about how he prioritized softball over wrestling. And to be completely honest, the level of respect I have for that is like pretty. Like, put that into perspective. People were afraid to even like knock on Vince McMahon's door to his office to like ask what creative plans they have for, like, you know what I mean? He was that level of intimidating to everyone else. Sid Vicious would be like, yeah, I can't make it tonight. I got a softball game. You know what I mean? Like, good for him. Like, he knew what he loved, and he prioritized his own happiness over, but it is just, it's a massive bummer. Like, he, in the grand scheme of things, he died young, younger than he should have. I don't know, man. It's tough. Like, I wasn't a huge WWF fan when he was like on his come up in the WWF, but obviously have gone back and watched that stuff over the years. And, he was very influential and important in the come up of Shawn Michaels. Like,
Shawn Michaels, said as much. It was good to see Shawn acknowledge that, of how important he was to like the Heartbreak Kid character.
Yeah, and that's very true, because that's mainly because I knew of him because like he would bounce around, and I watched so much of like my early wrestling off of like Blockbuster VHS tapes. So like I'd get one tape and it'd be like early Sid Justice or whatever. Then like I'd get another tape I'd get like a WWF tape and it'd be Sid Justice. I get a WCW tape, it's Sid Vicious. I get another WWF tape, it's Sycho Sid, and it's like he's bouncing around companies, but he was consistently an intimidating presence. I remember in like the early days of like finding stuff on the internet too, finding like the clip of him messing that promo up live and trying to get them to start it over, and like they're like, "Do you mean Gene's like, we're live, pal? Like, just start over," and stuff like that. So like I have a lot of memories of Sid Vicious. Some are funny, some are downright scary, but at the end of the day, he's a name and a presence and like a face that, even if you aren't a big wrestling fan, a lot of people know the name Sycho Sid. A lot of people would recognize him if they saw him. And I feel like you can't talk about like 90s wrestling without him being brought up. He was a major player in both of the major companies. I mean, so did he do some ECW as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did ECW too.
Yeah, between the WWE and the WCW run.
He sure did. So yeah, rest in peace to Sycho Sid, Sid Justice, Sid Vicious, whatever you want to call him. Sid Udy, is that how you pronounce his real last name? But yeah, I've got a whole lot of thoughts on him, and they're all positive. The only negatives aren't like negative him as a human being. They're just like really traumatic, like the injury and stuff. Like that was the most brutal injury I've ever seen in a sport of any kind. Like, I've never seen something like that before. And I feel especially bad about it because apparently he told people beforehand he wasn't comfortable attempting the move.
Yeah.
And that should have never happened. And had that never happened, he probably doesn't take any breaks, and he might have still been going to this day to some degree,
Oh, he would have been beating up Effie if he was, still able to do it.
He'd be passing the torch to Josh Bishop, dude. And that's the one thing that people already made the Josh Bishop Sid Vicious comparison a lot, but I think it'll happen even more like right now because Sid Vicious is going to be on people's minds. But it'll be kind of like a cool tribute, I think, because Bishop's style and stuff, he'll be hitting people with those power bombs, those Bishop bombs and stuff that are very similar to the way that, a little bit different of a setup, but a lot of similarity there with Sycho Sid and stuff. So he can kind of like almost like spiritually success a little bit and remind the people of Sid Vicious a little bit right now too. But yeah, it's a bummer. I obviously wish this didn't happen. And it was cancer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just, as somebody who has had a lot of cancer run in their family, I am unfortunately very familiar, and that's just, it's choking me up thinking about it. And, it's a real bummer. I hate that this happened, and I hate that he's gone. And once again, you talk about 90s wrestling, you got to bring up Sid Vicious, Sycho Sid.
I mean, he worked for the top 3 promotions, and not only worked for the top 3 promotions, he was a big part of all 3 promotions. He main evented 2 WrestleManias. He main evented Starrcade. He was always in a high profile position in all the companies. And when he wasn't doing that, he was doing cool worker shit, like being like, nah, softball's more important, or, that doesn't work for me. Before Hogan, no, not really before, because he always has claims to it. But he's like, all right, what are we doing? Just going out there, going straight forward, get to the point. Love Sid.
And he also seems to me like the kind of guy who probably didn't take any crap from any of those kind of guys too. Like if Hogan would have like, that doesn't work for me, brother, like he probably wasn't saying it to Sid's face. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Sid had like a level of clout that, and like there's a level about him that, I don't know. I mean, he was the world champion in WCW and WWF. I mean, like there's not many people who did that when you really think about it. Like we're not talking like post invasion when the title belts are like flopping all over the place and like the Rock's the WCW champion and stuff. We're talking like legitimately went from back and forth, major company, becoming the world champion in both. He was one of my favorite things about like the dying days of WCW. Like, when that ship was sinking, Sid Vicious was still a badass, until the injury, of course. But
yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace to Sid. Big loss for the wrestling world.
All right, everybody. That is gonna start to end on a sad note there. But that's gonna do it.
To talk about Sycho Sid.
Oh yeah.
We had to, of course.
All right, Jensen. Anything you wanna plug before we get out of here?
This Sunday, Fightful Select Weekender podcast covering the world of indie wrestling. Unless there's like a really late Sunday indie show that I need to cover, then it'd be maybe a Monday upload. But speaking of Monday is a holiday.
Is it?
It is, yeah, it's Labor Day.
Oh yeah, I guess
so. I won't be working that day either, which is great. So I will make a plug for something that's very important and near and dear to my heart. Gonna get a little sentimental, all right? Gonna break character a little bit and talk about something very serious. This is September 2nd, right? Is Labor Day. Just get this pulled up on the screen. September 2nd, live on Netflix. Joey Chestnut versus Kobayashi. If you consider yourself to be a red-blooded American human being, you better be tuning in on September 2nd and watching Joey Chestnut, my hero, should be your hero, an American hero, beating Kobayashi. It's a long-awaited rematch. I'm
really looking forward to this, actually. I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too. Trust me. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. I hope you have the autograph of Joey Chestnut's that I got for you and sent to you.
I do. It's right here.
Hidden or safely guarded. There
it's
you go.
Safely in my. There you go, right there.
Jeremy, eat more. Joey Chestnut. I got one for you. Got one for Jesse Davin. Got one for myself. So, yeah. Joey Chestnut. Good luck, buddy. You don't need it though. I can't wait to celebrate that win next week. That'll be one of my other spotlights for next week's show. It'll be Joey Chestnut's defeat of Kobayashi. So, looking forward to that. And I think that's pretty much everything going on. Follow me on X at @FightTalk_. I'm not really active that much anymore on there, but I, pop in here and there to stir up some CM Punk, controversy or whatever. Enjoy Bash in Berlin. I'll be watching the show, and I think the world of wrestling is in a great place right now, Jeremy. AEW is coming off of an awesome show, and they're heating up again. WWE is the best it's been in a very long time, maybe ever. The best ever for me with, the position Cody's in, and the indies are thriving. GCW is doing great. And I'm looking forward to being back here now. Oh, by the way, so Maggie's on a plane. I invited Maggie to come on live. I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to join the show. And of course she's traveling today. We will get Maggie on the show at some point for a spotlight interview. It's just tough with our time difference. So we'll make it happen. But that's everything I got. Thanks for joining us today. We went long for y'all, but try to take advantage of not having a clock in for the shoot job today. So appreciate everyone who watches on demand. Appreciate everyone who's here live, and appreciate you, Jeremy. On a real note, like I say this all the time behind the scenes, and I'll take the opportunity to say it now. I love doing this show. I legitimately do. I base my actual shoot job hours and stuff. I take heat from my shoot job often because of this one thing that I prioritize over my actual job, which is this show. I love that we do this show. I love the people checking this show out, whether you're a first-time viewer or you're a long-time viewer. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate the people who come on here and talk to us. We appreciate people like Mose and Cole for giving us so much of their time and coming on live with us today. This means a lot to be able to do this show. And without you, Jeremy, I know I wouldn't be doing it. So thanks, bro. And I hope everyone has a great weekend.
I assume Maggie will be back for coexisting tomorrow. I'm sure she will have her live experience from AEW All In there. So everyone will definitely want to tune in to that. That's Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fightful Overbooked. I appreciate you, Jensen. I don't like compliments about myself, so that's why I was just gonna ignore that part. But I appreciate you.
Just no sell.
Completely no sell it. Yep, exactly. That's why.
For people who don't know, because we started this show in I think February 2022, and it was coming off of you doing the distraction with Joseph, who we both love. Who, by the way, I do want to get on this show at some point too to talk to. I would love to catch up with Joe. But if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing the show straight up. And I'd never forget that. I never take that for granted. If it wasn't for you reaching out and being like, hey, I'm thinking about doing something different and I want you to be the co-host, I don't know what the hell I'd be doing. I don't know if I'd even be talking about wrestling or podcasting, or I'd probably be doing the Weekender still for Fightful Select, but like, I don't know what else I'd be doing. I'd be struggling. I'd be grinding. I don't know what I'd be doing. So I appreciate you, man. And I'll put you on the spot and say it live publicly for everybody today. Because normally I say this stuff behind the scenes. People know we like to troll each other and, joke around and shit. But like, this show means a lot to me. And the people who watch the show mean a lot to me as well.
I appreciate everybody that tunes in. I appreciate everybody that sends their support and their feedback and their appreciation. I appreciate you, Jensen. And we'll be back next week, everybody, with a new episode. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us this morning. There's a lot of wrestling this weekend.
It's gonna be awesome.
There is maybe for you. MLW tonight, ROH tonight, TNA Weekly tonight, ROH Weekly tonight as well. That's 3 shows just tonight. SmackDown tomorrow, TNA Emergency tomorrow, New Japan Capital Collision tomorrow. 3 more shows. Bash in Berlin on Saturday, NXT No Mercy on Sunday, Collision on Saturday as well. That doesn't even count whatever indies are running this weekend. That's all stuff I'll be covering. So
I think GCW's running Chicago.
Sounds terrible.
On what's the 31st?
That's Sunday. No, that's Saturday. Sorry, that's Saturday. Yeah, that's Saturday.
Which is great. I love because I don't think they're running a Sunday show, so I should be able to do the Weekender on Sunday.
That sounds terrible.
But Mance Warner versus Gringo Loco is the main event of GCW on Saturday, and that's home field for Gringo Loco, so should be a good one. The IF versus Darshik and Effie for the tag titles also.
We'll be back next week, everybody. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about coming off all these shows this weekend. Until then, everyone enjoy your weekend. Be safe to enjoy whatever you're doing. Happy Labor Day to everyone out there. Talk to y'all next week. Bye, everybody.